perfection. You know I'm through with you. Your hoops are my obsessions, always jumping through. I'm so tangled, I'm so worthy. I'm just lost in my reflection. Pay attention, you never will. I will overanalyze and fall victim, but then I'm lowest. Time to get to know myself. I'm still tangled, I'm not worried, 'cause I am caught up in this perfection. Pay attention, yeah, you never will. 'Cause you depend, so you always will. If you arrest yourself again, I'll help you clean up the mess. I wonder if you ever did, yeah. I wonder if you ever did like I did. I wonder if you ever did, yeah. I wonder if you ever did like I did. Just wanna be free, yeah. Free, yeah. Free, yeah. Free, yeah. This is it, I'm tired of explaining. It's too late because everyone is waiting. That's great, so why are you complaining? You're on blue. If I'm unsure, will anybody notice? It's my fault because I love you on purpose. I'm insecure or just a little nervous. You're on blue. Who knows you're on blue? When every bruise looks good on you, tell me who knows you're on blue. When every bruise looks good on you. You found out that nobody is perfect, and you doubt that anything is worth it. Look around, the world is a circus. You're on blue. So provoking, I forgot to mention. Are you joking? I need some attention. And nothing's working, so change your direction. You're on blue. Who knows you're on blue? When every bruise looks good on you, tell me who knows you're on blue. When every bruise looks good on you. Why won't you hold my hand? Are you gonna deny this? Do the best you can. I haven't got a plan. That's just who I am. When you're on blue, you keep everything inside of you. You try to play it cool. Sometimes you gotta break the rules. I don't know why you are confused. All you need is a little bit of attitude. Yeah. This is it. I'm tired of explaining. It's too late because everyone is waiting. That's great. So why are you complaining? You're on blue. If I'm unsure, will anybody notice? It's my fault because I love you on purpose. I'm insecure or just a little nervous. You're on blue. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Starting to enjoy the view. I'm all about the attitude. Who knows you're on blue when every bruise looks good on you? Tell me who knows you're on blue when every bruise looks good on you. Hey, I just wanna change the world. I just want the perfect girl. I don't wanna hang around, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder, my pleasure together. Everyone's waiting, anticipating. I will never be
Let's go!
again.
I'm immune to the things they said.
My heart's unbreaking.
Your radiant truth,
I know that you will understand.
because I finally found myself.
My heart's unbreaking.
Yo!
Your radiance.
What's up? What's shaking, people?
I just wanna change the world.
Little hump day?
But I'm not
Gonna wait my turn.
I don't ever want to
Come down, I'd rather be found. It gets better, I wonder.
My pleasure
Together, everyone's waiting, anticipating. Dude, I love that little drum fill. How we doing tonight? I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking. Your radiant truth, I know that you will understand, because I finally found myself. My heart's unbreaking. You're radiant. You're radiant. Radiant, yeah, yeah, yeah. Radiant, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna
Oh. Hey, 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 hey. I can't pretend. No, 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 no. 3 more years of this shit.
I will never be alone again. I'm immune to the things they said. My heart's unbreaking.
You're radiant truth. I know that you will understand because I finally found myself.
My heart's unbreaking.
You're radiant. You're radiant. Let's go. All right. Dude, that's a little bit of an intro. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's fucking go, boss. All right, let's go. All right, that song never gets old. I know, dude. That is a good song. It is a good tune, dude. It's a good tune. We got a Wednesday. Like, bro, what? I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of a bizarre and interesting news day when you have a fucking Marine protesting. That's some wild shit, right? And then the guys, I mean, we're going to watch that Marine clip. I'm not going to play the part where his arm breaks. I'm going to pause it before the arm break happens. Because, dude, it's pretty gnarly. I like watched it and was like, oh, yeah. I don't need to see that. I mean, just when I saw his hand hooked in the door like that, I knew like, oh, shit, dude, this is about to be like a Quentin Tarantino film. Dude, yeah, is not pleasant. But, you know, and the guy, of course, the guy who was helping to try and drag him out is the dude who beat John Tester, who is just smarmy, that fucking senator from Montana. Dude, so crazy. But like Kristi Noem, though, is the big story, I think. I think that Kristi Noem, in particular, the line of questioning around the company that received that huge defense contract, unbelievable. Okay? Unfucking believable. The like guys, every day I wake up and I am forced to confront a level of corruption like screaming out at us that is so insane. And this particular thing with Noem, and it also involved Tricia McLaughlin, right, whose husband is involved with this thing, and then she like jumped ship. I mean, it is unreal. It is literally, I mean, we're watching a cabinet that is filled with people that are treating the U.S. Treasury like a piggy bank, and they're just taking like hundreds of millions of dollars out of it. It is so gross. It is like so like beyond gross. And nobody's doing anything. Nobody cares. Everybody, I don't know about you guys, but like sometimes I look at this shit and I wonder, do they just think the world is ending? Is that what it is? That they're all like convinced that, you know what, the world's ending anyway, so we're just gonna loot. We're gonna just like pull the slot machine handle and we're just gonna pull this money out, right? We're gonna just crank money out. Dude, unreal, raptured. Dude, I will go out on a limb and say this. I would give anything, like God, if you're listening, seriously, bro, I'll cash app your ass. Just rapture these motherfuckers, okay? And if you don't want to put them in heaven, just rapture them to hell. I don't care, right? For the love of God, I'll do anything to get these people off the planet. Anything. Seriously. I will cash app. Like, dude, I will like scrub Satan's toilet for fucking generations, bro. You can like pitchfork me. I don't care, dude. I will take all the pain in the world just to get these people off the planet. Like, seriously. Oh, get me off the planet. Dude. Then the dude, the other thing though, guys, you know what I think the funniest thing is that we're going to do for some comic relief is we are going to look at the new War Powers Resolution vote, and then we're going to dig up some clips of Cenk Uygur talking about how anti-war MAGA is. Dude, remember when Cenk Uygur was running around doing the podcast circuit and he was telling everyone, you know, MAGA are anti-war, and like, I'm gonna get together with MAGA and we're really gonna take a big stand, dude. Dude, how does that guy look in the mirror in the morning and not just like go right back to bed? Like, what a fucking idiot, dude. Dude, dude, GoFundMe for their Rapture tickets. Dude, Cenk Uygur and the MAGA, like, anti-war band. Dude, Tony said, what up, Tommy? How we doing at Antifa headquarters? Let's go. Dude, we are Antifa-ing, boss. Dude, Cenk 2028 still running. Oh, let's go, Tony. Dude, isn't that funny? Like, I saw a tweet today, and I actually had to comment under it, like, yo, homie, I'm just checking in to see how that, like, MAGA anti-war coalition is going. Dude, so funny. Like, the worst political instincts I have ever seen, like, ever on a human being. And yet that guy, like, owns one of the biggest, like, political fucking, you know, like, I don't even know. I guess it's a network, like, political online networks. Oh, shit. What is a war? Yes. Oh my God. Yeah, no, I want to see the Noem clip about the affair. You may have to, what is a warman? Oh shit. Can I just say, so first off, let's just start with something real quick. Let me just get in here. I want to start with that Trump tweet just as our little warm up. You know, we're warming up. We're getting in here. Hold on. Let me get my window arranged. There we go. There we go. There it is. There it is. All right. So, dude, the Trump tweet, actually, I think I have it saved. Did you see the tweet this morning? Where, so let me just say, like, Talarico has these guys shook. Bro, what is going on? Dude, MTG Wigu 28, let's go, Nick! But so Trump started off this morning with this tweet, right? And I'm not going to read the whole thing because I already included it in this morning's video. But where he says right here, he says, we have an easy to beat radical left opponent. We have to totally focus on putting him away quickly and decisively. Both John and Ken ran great races, but not good enough. Now this one must be perfect. My endorsements are virtually insurmountable. And he says, it is such an honor to say that almost everyone I endorse wins, blah, blah, blah. But he says, I will be making my endorsement soon and will be asking the candidate I don't endorse to immediately drop out. Isn't that nuts? Like, he's going to endorse Cornyn, I think. I think he is going to endorse the Rhino, and like MAGA are going to shit themselves because he had already endorsed Paxton, and you would expect him to just come out and be like, I'm getting behind Ken, our MAGA candidate. But I think he is honestly worried that Paxton has too much baggage, that Paxton is going to be a liability. And so I think he's going to endorse John Cornyn, the safe bet. And I think MAGA are going to melt the fuck down. This is insane, guys. And you know what's wild is I really think Talarico has a shot here, because even if Trump endorses Cornyn, I think some MAGA are going to bow out on this. I think some people are going to hit a brick wall. I mean, no mass deportations, more wars, the economy sucks. Trump, the power bills are going up, right? Everything, H-1B visas are still around, right? And now he's endorsing the Rhino. Like, I don't know what they're going to do, man. I mean, you think they're just going to fall in line and whatever, be sheep? But I'm starting to wonder. Like, dude, they got to hit a breaking point. And then you saw what Paxton said, though, is Paxton, fucking grimy ass Paxton said, I ain't withdrawing, okay? Right? He said he's not withdrawing. Where is it? Right here. Right? He's like, it's time to finish the runoff. He has made it very clear, okay? Ken Paxton has made it very clear that no matter what, he's not backing out, okay? He is not backing out. Isn't that crazy? So he's defying Trump, and Trump is like, who's he going to endorse? Benjamin Netanyahu is the worst president. Dude, that's funny, Starch. Starch says Benjamin Netanyahu is the worst U.S. president we've ever had. Yes, I agree. Terrible fucking president, dude. I don't like his ears either. I'm serious. Dude, every time I see Netanyahu, I think, you know what? There's like millions of people suffering worldwide because like kids probably made fun of that guy's ears when he was a kid. I bet he got made fun of because of his ears, and now he's out to just harm the whole world. Oh my God, dude. So Paxton says he's not dropping out, right? Trump is probably going to endorse Cornyn. MAGA is melting down. Dude, I saw the grapist Cernovich, right, already was melting down this morning, right? I mean, everybody knows it. What did he say, dude? It was pretty delicious. The MAGA tears are pretty delicious. But where does he say it? It was this morning where he's like, oh, man. Oh, where are you? Dude, I don't remember the wording of it. Oh, I know 𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪 quoted it. Dude, yeah, Texas MAGA 100% behind Paxton. Let's go. Yeah, no, I'm sure they are, dude. Like, they're they're going to go down with the ship, right? But what is it? Right? Where is it? Come on, baby. I should have fucking bookmarked this shit, but I didn't, because I didn't think it was really that important. But Cernovich, like, kicked it off this morning, and then I've seen other people. I know somebody mentioned Matt Walsh. Dude, Matt Walsh is having a meltdown. But, dude, Cernovich's tweet was funny because he was just, like, aghast, right? Dude, yeah, Matt Walsh, what a degenerate. Now, I'm going to say this, though, guys. They are freaking out about Talarico. have you seen it? It's like already today, guys, the Talarico shit is crazy. I mean, they are digging up tweets from 5 years ago. All of the Republicans today, like, it was obviously there was a feeding frenzy going on. Whoever is pumping money into these guys, they were at it in mass, like full force. Everybody was getting in on it today. They were digging up from 2020 BLM tweets, abortion tweets, tweets about, defending trans rights. He called God non-binary. I mean, when you think about it, like, I love the non-binary God thing because God is genderless, right? You know what I mean? God, if you believe in God, he doesn't have a penis, but you call him a him. Like, I mean, it's just really fascinating to see them bending, like mind bending about this shit. Dude, where's this fucking tweet, bro? All right, hold on. I know how to find it. Right here. There it is, dude. Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. Endorsing Cornyn will be more gutting to the base than the Iran airstrikes. And dude, I mean, he's not wrong, okay? 𝗙𝗍𝗏 is very rarely correct, but in this instance, he is correct. Like, it would be demoralizing. Now, again, we really wonder how much they care because it bothers them, but they get on board anyway, right? Like, they're upset about the war, but then they're going to be pro-war, and they'll be upset and devastated about Cornyn, but they will probably get in there and, like, back that shit too. I mean, I don't know how they do it, but I know that it bothers them. I know it does. In fact, they probably like flip and become pro-war extra hard just because they know they're hypocritical frauds. Like, they know they are. Dude, they know they are. I know they know it. I know they know it. They'll never admit it, but dude, gutting. And it's so true, man. And yes, Jasmine Crockett, she wrote something really, really nice, dude. I thought the way she wrote this today was really great. This morning, I called James and congratulated him on becoming the Senate nominee. Texas is primed to turn blue, and we must remain united because this is bigger than any one person. This is about the future of all 30 million Texans and getting America back on track. With the primary behind us, Dems must rally around our nominees and win. I'm committed to doing my part and will continue working to elect Democrats up and down the ballot. And so I think that is, that was a nice move. You know what I'm saying? And dude, but like, look at this, dude. Like Ken Klippenstein, like what is his fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is his little, like weird... I thought this comment was so childish, right? Why would you congratulate someone you've implied is racist? Could it be because you don't actually believe that? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I thought this comment was just so fucking childish, because the fact of the matter is like, the racism in America that Jasmine deals with is like systemic. And like, for him to sit there and like hammer away at that afterwards, I thought that was pretty fucking tasteless. You know what I'm saying? But it feels like very Ken Klippenstein. He's just kind of like, he's always got to be like a shitty troll, It's like his brand is performing, he's always performing for, the shitty trolls, right? She did go super nasty. So she did cause a split for no reason. Yeah, but so the thing is though, is I wouldn't exactly say it was for no reason. I think I try to have empathy in those situations when, you look at somebody like Jasmine Crockett, you look at somebody like Stacey Abrams, you look at somebody like Kamala Harris, and you think about these powerful Black women that are qualified and capable, and that like you realize that most of them are never going to get a shot. And why? Simply because they're Black women. And I think that like when they get repeatedly confronted with that fact, you know what I'm saying? It is fucking it is just hard, man. You know what I mean? It is just hard, right? That like because they're expected to just take it like a champ, like, oh, buck up and, toe the line anyway. And I can't even imagine what that is like day after fucking day after fucking day after fucking day. And I mean, it reminds me of some of that anti-racism work where they say that none of us will be free until Black women are free. And I'm telling you, man, I absolutely believe that, right? You feel very discouraged after last night. Yeah, no, Cake, I get it. But keep going. You know what I'm saying? Get your fucking degree, keep going. And I know you're discouraged, but like keep moving, okay? Because like the dam will break eventually, okay? It will break eventually. But like, man, that's why I read that fucking Ken Klippenstein thing, and it just made me mad because there's no grace given, like the white men get a lot of fucking grace, okay? They can overreact, they can get out of pocket, they can like start shit where there is none, they can create a whole scene, and we just get forgiven and like, oh yeah, oh he was drunk, or he was just really heated, or like these things happen, he's just jacked up, like getting ready for the big game, But like, my God, a Black woman reacts and it's like, oh fuck, bro, you better be ashamed of yourself. Are you gonna apologize? And I'm fucking tired of that shit. You know what I'm saying? But fuck Ken Klippenstein. And I want to see like Jasmine and fucking Talarico like side by side, man. I want to see them fucking, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I want to see them like side by side and see them like, connect and fucking bring this shit home, dude. That would be amazing. That would be a great win. But like, you know what I mean? Dude, you're a white man and don't do that shit, but it's insane that you could. Yeah. I mean, dude, it's like, that's tough, dude. That shit burns me up, man. There is a huge difference in the amount of grace that like, women get, and especially women of color, compared to the men, which is why for me personally, when I see women who behave like men and no fucks given, I love them. That's why like Courtney Love has always been one of my idols. I love the women that are no fucks given. You know what I'm saying? What's my Venmo? Oh shit. I have Cash App, right? I got, do you have Cash App? The Cash App is up there on the screen. I think I have a Venmo. I don't know what my Venmo is. I've never used it. I have one, I think. Oh shit, dude. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm gonna keep speaking on this shit. I am, dude. I am. I like, I think it's important. I think it's important, that like we keep, taking a stand against this shit. And, so embarrassed you never knew about systemic racism or any of that stuff. I mean, it's hard. It's hard because if you're like not a person of color, you don't see it. You know what I'm saying? You don't see it. It's really wild. It's just really wild how it works. And I said this the other day that when you really do see it is when you start hanging out in a crowd of people, right? Like I lived in a building where a bunch of my neighbors were black men. And when I started hanging out with like a group of black men is when I started seeing it. I mean, I saw it as a kid when there was one black guy who lived in a small town, but you really notice it when you hang out with a group of people of color. Or I had one of my first like really epic AA sponsors was a black man. He was like a real father figure to me. And that was another moment, my relationship with him. It's like you see it profoundly when you're right. And you know what's wild about it, guys? Can I just tell you, there's a thing that will happen where if you're hanging out with a group of black people and you're like a white guy and some white person comes into the realm, you encounter a white person who's exhibiting some type of racism, they will actually look to the white person who is with the group of black people for like some level of support. And it's like, really? Like, you know what I mean? Like the arrogance of racists is just off the fucking chart, bro. It's like, it is the most arrogant sort of mindset imaginable, and it's like, really you think like right now what I'm thinking about doing is just like giving all of these guys permission to fucking beat your ass, It's so crazy, dude. It's gross, man. It is gross. It is. Dude. But yeah. But anyway, so I do want to address something that I saw in the chat there. Hold on. I think I missed one, dude. Curious George says, my beautiful black sisters get hate from everyone. White men, black men, white women, black women. I love all my BAPs out there. Beautiful black princesses. Let's go, Curious George. Let's go, baby. Dude, we love to see it. We love to see it. Now, here's what I want to say. I saw, and dude, 𝗙𝗡𝗅. Let's go, 𝗙𝗡𝗅. Thank you for the membership. I knew there was one up there that I missed. I think we're all clear now. But guys, can I tell you, I saw somebody in chat say something about, I hope Talarico doesn't turn out to be like Fetterman. I'm going to say after today, after seeing all the shit they're digging up on Talarico, he's actually pretty fucking woke, dude. Dude, he is. Like, I you know what I'm saying? Like, I looked at some of this shit and I'm like, holy cow, dude. Talarico might be like the wokest Christian I've encountered. Dude, he is pretty fucking like super woke, dude. It's pretty crazy. And when you have Matt Walsh freaking out like this, like, let me just show you Matt Walsh right here, dude, who is so gross, dude. Matt Walsh has spent the last decade obsessed with children's genitals. Dude, Tony said in Canada here, First Nations people are minimized. Yes. No, it's true. The native people in Canada are like, dude, there's like, it feels like there's a war against them. But look at what Matt Walsh wrote, dude. Dude, he wrote, it's tough because I really want to gloat over Jasmine Crockett's loss. But the guy who beat her is somehow 100 times worse in every way. Dude, when the racist is calling the white guy 100 times worse than the black woman, you know, like the trigger has been fucking. Dude, he says just an absolute depraved, evil freak. At least Jasmine was kind of funny because she's so dumb. Dude, they're calling Talarico a depraved, evil freak, guys. Like, holy shit, boss. Like, what the fuck, dude? Dude, this is the guy who, like, can't go 7 minutes without talking about children's genitals. Okay, that's Matt Walsh declaring. I know the projection is insane, guys. But guys, they are freaking out. Okay? I mean, if you look at it, they're freaking out, boss. Let's see if we can find some of the MAGA. I mean, we're mostly going to get the good stuff, but the MAGA people are flipping. Okay? Oh, yeah, here's Andrew Colvett. Look at this. So Andrew Colvett said he's talking to the guy who beat Dan Crenshaw. Okay? And that's Steve Toth. He's the guy who beat Dan Crenshaw. He's the ultra MAGA dude. And of course, he's supported by TPUSA. But he says he served with James Talarico in the House. Okay? And Toth says, I served with Talarico from 2019 to today. This guy is as evil as they come. There is a darkness to this man's life. If you doubt that there is a wickedness and evil and a demonic presence in the world, you only have to look at James Talarico. He's an awful, awful person. Dude, like, bro, I mean, come on. You know, I get it if you don't like him, whatever, you think he's woke, but like wickedness, evil, demonic presence in the world. I mean, these guys are so over the top. Like, oh, right? They're like so, if you vote for Talarico, your skin will be peeled off of you by Beelzebub. Moloch will crawl through your fucking toilet and sup on all your children. Dude, they are so freakish. Dude, Curious George says, beautiful African princesses, LOL. Also, Talarico is legit. I just love Jasmine so fucking much. Yeah. I mean, we all love Jasmine. But yeah, dude, they are triggered, right? And of course, the Charlie Kirk show, the show of the dead guy. You know what I love, guys? Here's what I love, right? I love a group of men sitting in front of pictures of a dead guy, tweeting from the dead man's account, podcasting from the dead man's podcasting platform in order to just hit a cash register and just fleece a bunch of like heartbroken people while just keeping this money train going. And then they're the ones talking about like demonic presences and wickedness and evil people while they masquerade behind a dead guy's social media because they're just obsessed with like using his reach to continue furthering their goals. Like they don't even honor him enough to just start their own shit. But they're not the demonic ones. They're not the ones that are weird or greedy or awful, right? It's like that's totally normal to just like climb inside somebody else's corpse and try to milk it, you know? I mean, Jesus, bro. What the fuck, dude? Right? Like unfucking believable, dude. These guys. But yeah, they are freaking out. Okay? They are freaking out. But yeah, man, I think it's going to be good, dude. I think it's going to be good. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Dude. All right, speaking of Fetterman, you know, I think we have to look at this thing real quick before we get into the meat of our story. But, dude, did Charlie Kirk ever talk about demons? I don't think he did. You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe he talked about things being demonic, though. He wasn't quite as flippant with it because you got to remember, the thing about Charlie Kirk is he was talking to young people. So he was a little bit more about like the idea of things being demonic and things being heretical and shit like that. But he was careful with his choice of words because he was trying to appeal to the bros. So, right? So you don't really talk about demons when you're talking to the bros, but you will talk about people being evil and shit like that. Because he was, the whole time, he was trying to be cool with the bros, right? So he had to sort of moderate his language. But he definitely used the concept of evil as a, you know, as a like a leverage point, okay? And you know, I mean, this is really, this modern MAGA Christianity, that's really what they do, right? They try to leverage the concept of demonic to both dehumanize and to like their goal isn't to like win people over with policy. Their goal is to create a picture of the opponent as being so unholy that you must not ever vote for them, right? They're looking for that guaranteed political power as opposed to like, hey, our issues are better than this other side. It's like really, yeah, it's pretty gross. I mean, that whole othering of everybody who is not your exact faith position is one of the more troubling things about the modern Christian nationalism. Because guys, even when you went back to the original America First movement with like the KKK and shit, they didn't do that, okay? They didn't do that. Like they had their sick and twisted religion and they had their bigotry, but they didn't try to like, you know, I don't know. They were like, it was different. I mean, they definitely did the demon possession sort of things, but they didn't do it en masse where it was like they rode their bigotry, but it wasn't necessarily like, oh, you're going to hell if you fucking are on the other side of the aisle. You know, I don't know. It's this modern thing it's getting weird. It is really getting weird because I've seen that it looks like the evangelicals are raising their kids from little on to just believe that like, no, you like if you commune with those people, you're going to hell. Like you're going to burn, you know? And that's pretty wild. Tony says, I believe a side project of Trump's imperial tactics is to flood the Caribbean with U.S. military naval traffic constantly and build military sites. I mean, that may very well be, Tony. I mean, you know, they got Cuba on their mind. Trump has the military and the Supreme Court. Yeah. Although the Supreme Court, they cut them on the tariffs. So I'm not exactly sure if he fully has the Supreme Court. I know he's got three. Okay. He's got Alito, he's got Thomas, and he's got Kavanaugh. He's got three, but I don't think Gorsuch and Amy Coney Barrett are actually guaranteed. But dude, we got to look at this Fetterman video. Dude, this Fetterman video is like just not okay. All right. I mean, watch this, dude. This shit, dude, this shit is crazy. Right here. You ready? Watch this. This guy is a sitting fucking senator, bro. Right? Make Moloch America great again. Dude, watch this. Watch this clip, bro.
Hey there, Senator. How you doing? I was wondering what you made of the Department of War's sinking of an Iranian naval ship today.
Oh, I want to offer condolences to your boss. I know he's all broke up about the Ayatollah. Was, you know,
Who's our boss?
what?
Who's our boss?
Huh?
You're offering your condolences to my boss?
Yeah. No. What I'm saying though, it's like I know who you work for. It's very anti-Israel. And
We just reported a humanitarian loss,
He's
sir.
very anti-Israel, and I'm very pro-Israel. So we can agree and disagree on things.
Sure. Do you think it's okay for the U.S. to bomb an Iranian naval ship in international waters?
I think the world's better that he's dead now, and I think it's a good thing now that Iran will never acquire a nuclear bomb.
What about the naval ship today, though?
Really have much else to have that, and if they think it's a good idea to have a nuclear bomb, really disagree on that.
Dude, he's winded just walking, bro. Homie can't even walk through the subway without losing his breath. Like, what a sack of crap,
Okay for the
dude.
U.S. to bomb naval ships without a declaration of war, though?
I'm sorry, I support killing the Iranian leadership.
I'm not talking about leadership,
why
sir.
wasn't he upset about the way they killed all the Iranians?
Senator.
Why wasn't he upset about it? He wasn't angry about
Who's he?
killing the thousands and thousands of young Iranians. He didn't seem bothered by that.
Who's he, Senator?
Dude, what? Look at this schlump, dude. What a fucking schlump this guy is. But like, guys, first off, his comment about Mehdi, oh yeah, I'm really sorry your boss is all broken up about the Ayatollah. Like, that's so gross. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's celebrating the Khomeini guy. Okay, nobody's celebrating that guy. Okay, that guy was not a good guy. The same way that Donald Trump is not a good guy. Okay, nobody's celebrating the Khomeini guy, saying, "Oh yeah, we're rooting for him." Nobody is, and certainly Mehdi Hassan is not celebrating that guy. He's not a fucking idiot. But this idea, though, that we can decide somebody's bad and then just go kill them and then just go decimate civilians and grade schools and their army and their navy and their planes simply because we decided you're bad and we're going to fucking take your shit is not, you know what I'm saying? It is not a fucking, you know, that is something that we don't want to celebrate. I mean, you think Fetterman would feel good if, you know, if Iran came here and just kidnapped Trump and murdered him and murdered 50 government leaders and started sinking our boats in international waters? I don't think Fetterman would be for that shit. Okay? And the crazy thing, though, is think about this thing, because the reporter was asking him about a specific event about Trump targeting an Iranian ship in international waters. Okay? Which is like, I don't believe it was a warship. I don't think there was any war business going on, but the U.S. is just escalating. Okay? The U.S. is escalating, and Fetterman is like fixated on the Ayatollah and, you know, his personal smear of Mehdi Hassan and his personal support of this guy dying, even though, like, we don't know that Iran's not going to get a nuclear weapon. And so far, it actually looks like the Khomeini's son is going to take over. And so it's just going to be an extension of Khomeini. I mean, I don't think really a lot has been accomplished here in killing this guy. But, dude, what the fuck, man? Now, I know, guys, it's hard accepting Fetterman, and somebody said, I can't believe Bernie supported this guy. But, like, guys, like, Mehmet Oz was his opponent. So we were sort of between a rock and a hard place. And yes, there were some red flags about Fetterman, but, like, I mean, we didn't have much of a choice, you know? And I think, you know, something went on with him. I don't know if it was the stroke. I don't know if it, you know, it may very well have been the stroke. It may also, though, guys, I mean, here's the thing. This is the thing that's really interesting is you never know what people's trigger issues are, okay? That's what's so crazy. Like another example of this, guys, is Brianna Wu, okay? Brianna Wu, trans woman, activist, appeared like a fairly normal and rational trans woman. And then the minute the Israel shit happened with October 7th, she like flipped a switch and she completely went like full bore, like Israel obsessed the minute that happened. And like now she's like almost an anti-trans activist because for whatever reason that, you know, that October 7th thing like flipped a switch where there was some big Israel trigger in her that like we didn't know. And some big Israel trigger in this guy that like, you just don't know until that shit happens, really, you know, where some people just flip the switch. Now, with Fetterman, there was some behavior, the shotgun in the face of the black guy. And, you know, so there were some red flags that got ignored. But the other thing I was thinking about, guys, is I was thinking that, you know, like Fetterman with the stroke and with the sweatshirts and with him trying to like talk about going to therapy, he became like a focus. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but after he won, Fetterman became this like thing, this like spotlighted thing. And I think that fucked his head up. In addition to the stroke, I think fame and becoming the thing like hit him in a way that both destroyed him and left him craving being the center of all of that attention. Like, I think the fame and spotlight kind of broke him a little bit. And I've seen that happen to a lot of people. I mean, Nancy Mace, it kind of did that to her too. Like sometimes people get in there and they get in front of the spotlight and it just fucking like makes their brain go haywire, you know? And all of a sudden then they crave it, right? And so what's interesting is because he's the like Democrat who is okay with MAGA, MAGA loves him, right? They like love him. They'll have him on Fox News every day. And so he's just like, they're like, oh, please, John Fetterman, please tell us more. I think he is like, he broke his brain with fucking the fame attention, dude. Like, but we're gonna put him down though. We got to primary his ass and put him out of the thing, dude. Yeah, he is damaging, dude. Crazy. Yeah. He's not the only Dem that will be agreeing. No, there's a lot of Dems that are going to be fine with the war. I mean, guys, you know, what's complicated about this is it's complicated, okay? Because, you know, of course, like I said, I don't support the imperialist sort of go in and kill leaders, kidnap leaders just because you think they're bad, right? I don't support that shit at all. And simultaneously, the world is better without Khomeini in it. You know, the fact that guy is gone is not a net negative for the world. Like that's not a, you know, that the world is better off. I mean, this was the same shit, the conundrum with like the Charlie Kirk stuff. Because Charlie Kirk, like, I think the political violence is horrific and nobody should be shot like that, right? That shit is crazy. And simultaneously, the absence of Charlie Kirk is like not harmful to humanity. So it is, I mean, these things are so complicated, you know, like, so, and I mean, with a lot of Dems though, especially if they're tied into the, you know, the defense industry, there's a lot of money to be made with, you know, and the oil industry, like anybody who is corrupt and all about the money, they love war, you know? But yeah, dude, the fucking bombing of, I watched a video of like the bombing of Tehran, and it is so gross, dude. It's so gross. Because every time you see those bombs blow up, you just know that like people are dying and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so, I mean, we are so insulated from it because we've never had it here. We've never had enemy jets flying over our fucking houses, just dropping bombs on our cities. And so much of the world has had that, you know? But dude, it just sucks. It's brutal, dude. It's brutal. You know? It's brutal. But all right. What a crazy fucking flip, though. You know? Dude, so crazy. But now, the thing about this is you may have seen this, that like there are absolutely factions of Iranian people that are totally celebrating that guy's demise, you know? But you may have noticed, though, that most of the celebration is coming from Iranian people that fled Iran and have gone to other countries, and they're like, yes. But like, I get that. I get that, like, okay, the murderous dictator is gone, but the fact of the matter is Iran is going to be in turmoil, okay? Iran is going to be twisted in knots, and they're going to be experiencing unrest and a crazy, aggressively fought and sought after power vacuum. And there's not going to be a lot of like peace. There's going to be like much, much more turmoil, you know, for a long time. And that may very well be for 50 years. You know, I mean, these violent overthrows just never go very well. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just so, you know, it's so like brutal. I mean, just to give you an example, guys, of what happens in a family when like a child dies, right? If there's parents and they have a kid and that kid dies in some violent way, it like disrupts the family. It destroys the marriage. It destroys the household. If there are other kids there, like the entire family stops. Or if a parent dies, it can take decades for just a family to heal like one violent death. When your government is thrown into chaos through a violent overthrow and a war like that, and just a devastation and everyone scrambling, like that shit can take a lifetime to sort out. Some countries never really get over that. Like, I think what's crazy is if you look at, I feel like Russia is an example where Russia had a lot of issues, a lot of internal strife and shit. And it feels like, look at what they're still doing. They're still like ruled by this crazy fucking dictator. It feels like that shit just never, like that generational shit sometimes will never go away, man. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? I mean, look at us with the violence, the police violence, the cops murdering people. That's still a legacy from fucking slave patrols and shit. And you know what I'm saying? We still have like feds gunning people down in the streets and unrest, you know? And I mean, you know, we're like, I don't know, we're what people consider an advanced, you know, very wealthy and capable nation. And we're still like a mess hundreds of years later, you know? It's like, fuck, bro. I just don't see how it's going to end well. You know? You lost your son when he was 13. Oh my God, Christine. Yeah. I have a friend who lost her son to a drug overdose. And like, man, it fucked her up so bad. And she's still like, I mean, she's doing a lot better now, but she's still dealing with it. You know, what's the end goal? Yeah. See, Callie, that's just it. I don't think they have an end goal, right? I don't think they have an end goal. And what's more though, guys, is like this whole like nuclear shit. I don't, the thing I don't understand is I feel like at some point there's going to need to be nuclear power, like pervasive, used on our planet. Like at some point I don't see how we avoid it if we're, you know what I mean? So this whole like, you know, I don't know. It just seems weird that we're still on this whole nuclear, like I don't feel like there's any incentive for people to like nuclear bomb other countries, because that would be such an end game sort of deal, you know, that if somebody fires nukes, their country is kind of over too, you know what I mean? You know, but like, I feel like we're going to need nuclear energy to prevent destroying the planet, you know? But of course the oil companies, they'd want nothing to do with that. You know, I don't know, man. Oh, it's just so dumb, dude. Dude. It's so dumb, you know? And again, the only country that ever used them is the country now that is so obsessed with making sure nobody else gets them. Right? Yeah, no, I know, Tourmalines. I know you've definitely been colored by that shit. Like, so is my son. My son has known, you know, nothing but war and occupation and, you know, like U.S. aggression and tough economic times related to it. I mean, that's just sort of the young people of today. You guys that's what you've had your whole life. It's crazy. It's crazy. Dude. Dubai's going down if they keep fighting. I mean, guys, I am like, for me personally, I hate the way a lot of those countries treat women and the way they treat the LGBTQ. I absolutely abhor it, to the point of where I would never go to those countries and spend any money, because I don't want to support the societies that they live in. But like, that doesn't mean we go fucking blow them up. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this idea that we get to decide who's a good society and who's a bad, and then we go blow them up. I have a real problem with that, because when you do it to them, eventually they're going to do it to us too, you know? And I mean, that's a reality. Okay, if you impose your will, you don't stop at your border. Okay, you don't just impose your will on people outside of the border. You do it at home too. Like, people that grape and impose their will, they never stop. Okay, it's just shitty, dude. It's shitty. It's a shitty fucking system. All right, let's look at some Kristi Noem, can we? Okay, can we look at a little bit of Kristi? Dude, Kristi. Oh shit. Let's find some Noem clips. I want to start with this one. Kristi. Oh, Kristi. This one is insane, guys. Okay? This is just absolutely batshit. Okay? Let's watch this and then break this down. Now, let me just, before we get going here, let me outline, okay, that we've seen Kristi Noem as the cosplayer. Okay, we've seen her. Remember when she was holding the rocket launcher aimed at that guy's head? She's out there dressed like a cowboy. She's got her flak jacket on. She's out there standing by a tank, talking tough. She's talking to people as they're getting arrested. You're going away, right? She's all cosplay Kristi out there trying to be this military woman while simultaneously her chief of staff is her fucking mister. Okay, she's having an adulterous relationship with her chief of staff. And it's gnarly. And that guy's an abuser too. So she's a mess. But behind the scenes, behind all that cosplay, the head of the DHS deals with money, okay? The primary thing that these department heads do is they have access to all of these funds, and they are in charge of like making sure these funds get disbursed and get used appropriately and get spent for the things they need. And so wait till you see what is going on with the money. I mean, we had heard, let me pull this up real quick. We had heard about how, like, one of the stories that came through a while back was about her planes, okay? Where they were going to bring, remember? They were trying to get, 2 private jets. Not just one, but 2. She wanted 2 private jets for DHS, right? Like, that's weird. Okay, why do you need 2 private jets? Like, she doesn't even need a private jet. She should just be at the office, like, managing her fucking agency. Okay, but she had wanting a lot of jets. And then there was a scandal here about this. There was a firm tied to Kristi Noem that got money from a DHS contract. It was $220 million for ads. And there was a firm that she got some money from. So she's like doing a little skimming through a firm, maybe, it looks like. So she's had some issues with potential corruption. But now, watch this. This is just, it's just mind-blowing. The negligence and the outright corruption here.
2 of them were
That's
chosen.
inaccurate, Madam Secretary. I'll read from the notice from your agency. Given the immediate action to significantly reduce illegal immigration and border crossings, DHS identified 4 companies. 4 of the hundreds of thousands of companies in the United States. You identified 4. One of those is this Safe America Media company. Where is Safe America Media headquartered?
I don't know.
I don't know either, Madam Secretary. We can't find it. We can't find a website. We did find an address that's registered for this company. Do you know where that address is?
Is there a problem with this contract?
I'll
Because
tell you
was
about
done
it.
According to
Madam
law.
Secretary,
It was
the
done by career
address is
officials.
registered to a political
It was
operative.
dollars that were spent
Madam Secretary, the
to
company,
inform
and then I'll give you an
people that
opportunity to
the
respond.
laws-
The company is registered to a political operative in Virginia. Do you know, just by way of example, whether this company that received $143 million in taxpayer dollars, has it ever done work for the government before?
I don't know. I can't.
The answer is it has not. And do you know why we know that? Because it was incorporated 8 days before this contract went out. You want the American people to believe that this is all above board?
Yes,
that $143 million of taxpayer money just happened to go to this one company that doesn't have a headquarters, doesn't have a website, has never done work for the federal government before, and is registered, apparently, or attached to a residence from a political operative. And of course, one of the subcontractors of that contract, as you know, is a political firm that's tied to you back when you were governor of South Dakota. The reason why I ask these questions is that this is taxpayer money. And I presume, I don't know this for a fact, but Senator Tillis noted yesterday the way in which your agency is blocking the Inspector General from 11 different investigations that it is trying to conduct. I don't know if this happens to be one of them. I certainly hope it is, because eventually the facts will become public in this regard. And
So let's run that back, okay? So check this out, guys. So there's $143 million and it gets paid to a company that essentially doesn't exist. There's no website. This company's never done any work before. It's never done any government work before. Its articles of incorporation happened 8 days before it received $143 million. Okay? And the only known address to it is a political figure in Virginia. And then that political figure in Virginia hires a subcontractor that is a company that had worked with Kristi Noem back in her home state of South Dakota. So, right? And she's the head of the department, which again, remember how I said the number one job of the head of the department is to sort of disperse the money and she didn't know, oh, is there a problem with the company? Where's it headquartered? I don't know. Right? Did you know that it was incorporated 8 days before you paid it $143 million? Did you know that the subcontractor is somebody you knew? And she's like, oh, I don't know. We just let $143 million in we just let $143 million in taxpayer money go out to like whatever. I just sent it to a post office box, right? I just put it in a cardboard box and I left it on a park bench. And somebody picked it up, and I'm pretty sure they're a defense contractor, dude. Crime maxing, yes. Isn't that insane? Is that not like the most insane fucking thing? And what he said after that was that the inspector general is trying to follow up on this shit, and then she blocks the inspector general from being able to investigate inside her agency. Now, guys, this is not just Kristi Noem, okay? Some of this was Tricia McLaughlin, okay? I mean, let me find you this. This was also in DHS, okay? Tricia, remember Tricia from Ohio? Okay, Tricia McLaughlin, okay? She was the little spunky young girl who was like, right, here she is. She was the little Fox News mouthpiece for DHS. Okay, so Tricia McLaughlin, let me find the photo of her on the private jet. It is just a beautiful photo. Okay, there it is. There's the photo. So if we go back to this, not that one. If we go back to this fraud, okay, where there was an ad contract, $220 million got paid out, okay? And then Kristi Noem, some of that money went to a firm tied to Kristi Noem. But a whole bunch of that money, there's Tricia McLaughlin with some friends on a private jet, just zipping around, okay? So Tricia McLaughlin, her husband was one of the contractors involved in that $220 million. So $220 million goes out on an ad contract. A big chunk of that goes to Tricia McLaughlin's husband. And then Tricia McLaughlin steps down after that took place. So she gets the job. She's the mouthpiece for DHS. She lies a whole bunch while U.S. citizens are murdered in Minneapolis. She gets who knows how many millions of our taxpayer money. And then she's like, smell ya. I'm going to hop on a private jet and I'm out of here. And off she goes, dude, to the horizon. And that's what they're doing. They're all just getting in there and just cha-chinging our taxpayer money, raking in the mills, and then they're bouncing, okay? And this is why, you know, everything is so fucked up, because I don't think any of these people are even there to do a coherent job. I think they're literally just there to loot. It's like open season for looting. Open season, you know? And what's interesting too, right? Like Renee said, we don't have enough brown and black people in government. And there's like nobody, hardly anybody that is brown or black in Trump's government. It is literally just white people, Christians that are, remember we talked about, we had talked about Calvinism some, but that's what it is. They're like Christians who believe they access to this funds is like divine right, okay? The Lord is blessing them with our taxpayer money. Brutal, right? Yeah, Cash is like Cash and the HUD guy. Donald Trump always puts a black man in charge of HUD, right? Because it has the word urban in it, right? So that's what Trump does. Dude, so pathetic. But they are just fucking, slamming. All right, let's go to Rupar and see if we can see some more clips of Kristi. Okay, I'm enjoying her getting smacked around. I am, dude. Tax strike, anyone? Let's go, dude. One flew over. Let's go. Dude, somebody had mentioned about the dance party goal. Dude, I'm going to set it up. Dude, MAGA Mile High Club. Let's go, Curious. Dude, crazy. Dude, I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone. And Tony said, Iran's regime is not any different than corrupt politicians anywhere else. They can all be bought. If Trump wanted, he could buy a new government. Thank you, Tony. That's for you. And then we had Miss Natty said, for some reason, I think Talarico is going to pull a Fetterman and Boogie. Let's hope not. God, I hope you're wrong. And Scrimmer said, wouldn't Kirk have wanted religious white guy to win? Not if he was a Dem. Wrong kind of religious white guy. And now we're all caught up. Let's go. Dude, the tax strike. I've seen some people who are saying that they're doing a tax strike. In fact, one of the prominent one is the Rachel Cohen. Remember a while back, we looked at her clip when she ran into Bovino. She's a TikToker who is, a leftist, and she ran into Greg Bovino at like a convenience mart and she started making fun of him. She's announced that she's not paying her federal taxes. I think a lot of people are. Yeah, dude, the shoulder pads. Look at this. In his jacket, dude, it's like, what the fuck has he got going on there? Dude, his shoulder pads are nuts because he's so frail. They're massive because he is so frail. I mean, when you just sit around and shit your pants all day, your shoulders go, they're not doing the work anymore. But he's got to look like he's some big imposing figure, right? He's got to keep that Frankenstein look going. Okay? All right, but let's find some more Kristi Noem. All right. Dude, she is swarthy. Oh, the dance goal. Let's go. Dance goal. Dance party! Dance party on Pine Box, baby. There it is. There it is. The Frankenstein's Grapist. Hold on, let me grab my water, guys. I'm gonna let a song play for 1 minute while I go grab some water. Hang tight. I've got a throat thing going on.
When you're on blue, you keep everything inside of you. You try to play it cool. Sometimes you gotta break the rules. I don't know why you are confused. All you need is a little bit of attitude. Yeah. This is it. I'm tired of explaining. It's too late because everyone is waiting. That's great. So why are you complaining? You're on blue. If I'm unsure, will anybody notice? It's my fault because I love you on purpose. I'm insecure or just a little nervous. You're on blue. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Hey, hey. Starting to enjoy the view. I'm all about the attitude. And every bruise looks good on you. Tell me who knows you're on blue. And every bruise looks good on you.
Oh shit. Screeching Weasel vibes? Dude, I don't know what Screeching Weasel is, but I love it. Dude, yeah, Trump, he does, I hadn't really noticed that. They seem a lot more pronounced now, don't they? And I don't know if it's because he's wearing a dark suit, but he really does have a Frankensteining thing going on. You like the music? Thank you, Duke. If you like the music, there's some links down in the description. I do have a couple albums that are even better shit than what you hear on the stream here. That is, on Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube Music, and the links are down below. And the stuff you hear here, I think I'm gonna get that on Spotify too. But there's certainly gonna be CDs available that you're gonna be able to purchase in the not too distant future, like by summer. Sometime during the summer, I'm gonna have the PoliticalPunk store opened up, and we're gonna get some shit going. Can you get a new song? Not really. I mean, I have no time. Like, I have no fucking time. You mean to write one? I have no time. Now, as far as getting new songs, like playing, eventually we're going to hear my other music on here too. Once I get the channel, get all that stuff like freed here so I don't get copy struck by my own people. Right? But I have to take care of the copyright shit first, because if I played other new songs here, I would get copy struck by my own music, right? Stop stupidity. Let's go. Like, for example, let me just tell you. So, because I have a distribution service that like collects royalties for me. So what I used to do when I was a gamer, before my YouTube was monetized, it took me like almost a year, actually about a year before my YouTube got monetized. So what I did in that first year is I would put my own music in my YouTube videos, and then I would get copy struck by my own music. So I was monetizing my videos by putting my own songs in it until my channel became monetized. I would just put my own music in it. And so then I was making money off my videos before I could make money. I was like, okay, YouTube, aha, I'm going to get you, right? I mean, sometimes you got to make that shit happen. I wasn't making much though, because I wasn't getting a lot of views, but it was the thought that counted. YouTube wouldn't let me monetize my channel. And I was like, that's what you think, buddy. That's what you think. There's always a vegan option. Let's go. But yeah, man. Oh shit. Dude, let's go. I gotta share. We got a little confetti with the Valentina Gomez video. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Which is good. The last couple videos before that were stinkers. It's good. It's good to have we love a 1 to 10. All right, you ready? Watch this. All right, let's get these clips. We're gonna dig into some of these clips here. Oh, even Kennedy's getting in on this. Miss Noem, I just got a new strap on. Miss Noem, I just got some new some new toys we'd like to try out.
How do you square that concern for waste, which I share, with the fact that you have spent $220 million running television advertisements that feature you prominently?
Sir, the president tasked me with getting the message out to the country and to other countries where we were seeing the invasion come from, with putting commercials out that told them that if they were in this country illegally, that they needed to leave, or we would detain them and remove them, and they'd not get the chance to come back to America the right way.
Again, you can make commercials or content that you don't have to star in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, the commercial you make doesn't have to be a fucking like a clip roll of you just prancing around in costumes and shit. Like, you know, she's gonna sing an a cappella version of "Oh, Don't Come to My Country."
That has been extremely effective.
Ask you to run these advertisements, is that right?
We had that conversation, yes, before I was put in this position and sworn in and confirmed, and since then as well.
Okay.
Dude, her ego is so over the top. You know what I'm saying? It really is. Like, she is so enamored with herself. Dude, 𝗙liche says Elaine Chao, Mitch McConnell's wife, is mismanaging funds in Trump's first admin. Oh, yeah. This is a pattern with Trump and his administration. Absolutely, 𝗙liche. I mean, wasn't she like Secretary of Transportation or something? And didn't she funnel like a whole bunch of money into companies, like her own companies or some shit? Like, dude, it's always been them. And remember when he had that hotel that like China was like booking months worth of rooms and shit? I mean, he's always had some grift. He's taken the Secret Service to his properties every weekend, right? Charging them like $15, $20 for a water, okay? Right? How many, like, if you take an entourage of 20 men out in the heat in black suits, $20 a pop for water. How many waters do you think those guys drink over a weekend? Right? Multiply that by 20, by 20, by 20. Right? You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's making like $500,000 every weekend just taking his entourage. Like, they're just like looting. Josiane says, I miss the good old days when corruption was limited to no-show jobs for the president's child, not crypto and $100 million government contract grifts. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Oh my God, Josiane. Yeah, you remember? So you remember how like there used to be such a stern like looking into where even the illusion of impropriety used to have a stigma. Okay, if it even, right? Like Billy Carter and shit, if it didn't even involve money, if somebody in the president's family got, a drunk driving like arrest, everyone was like, whoa, like they're ready to impeach or something, even if it even looked bad, people were all over it. And now Trump is like, he's given an interview and they're just walking behind him with fucking suitcases of money. Dude, people are like, excuse me, Mr. President, but everyone is walking behind you with suitcases of money. He's like, oh, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. We're just taking that over to the New Jersey, to Bedminster Golf Club. Right? We're going to go put that right in my safe. Oh, Jesus.
Did you bid out those service contracts?
Yes, they did. They went out to a competitive bid, and career officials at the department chose who would do those advertising commercials.
And the people that you ended up picking were people who had formerly done your political work back in South Dakota. Is that right?
No, that's not correct, sir. No, it's not, sir. The individuals who, I believe the careers who they chose were two different media firms.
Oh, yeah.
There's been conversation about their subcontractors, but we have no legal authority to look into subcontractors on work like that.
Yeah, see, that's though the same shit they did with that $143 million, right? That's their ruse. Okay, they pick a firm, which is just a dude or a post office box, right? And then the firm subcontracts to all their friends and or Tricia McLaughlin's husband or their nanny or whomever, Kristi Noem's like her Botox doctor is picked up a subcontractor. He's out there like installing Starlink satellites or some shit. Dude, and that's our money, guys. That is our money. Okay. Meanwhile, your ACA premiums go 10x. And if you have a disabled kid and you were getting a little SNAP, you don't have SNAP anymore and you're not getting any assistance for your disabled kid. But Tricia McLaughlin's husband is like banging her on a private jet while, shoving caviar up his ass. Okay. With our money, dude, it is, frustrating to say the least, dude. It's so smarmy.
Okay. And you're saying that you're testifying that President Trump approved this ahead of time. Is that my understanding?
We had conversations about making sure that we were telling people.
No, ma'am. I'm asking you, sorry to interrupt, but the president approved ahead of time you spending $220 million running TV ads across the country in which you are featured prominently.
Yes, sir. We went through the legal processes. Did it?
By the way, for $220 million, you could make a Marvel movie with like the top stars. Okay. Think about that. 220 million. You could have all of the Avengers and do a huge budget Marvel movie, something spectacular for 220 million. And they, for 220 million, made some fucking DHS, like public access commercials, right? That probably, I bet I could have filmed them and made them look better. And, right? They probably had them edited by some kid in a fucking, on a MacBook Pro somewhere. But 220 million went into this shit. Bro, right? I mean, just the craziest scam. Like the craziest overspending, like taking us back to the days when they were charging the government like $1,000 for a hammer and shit.
Did
Correct.
the
They
president
worked
know
with
you were going
OMB.
to do this?
Yes.
He did.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And one thing, Senator, I think would be helpful to know is how effective that communications has been. That
Well, they were
overwhelmingly
effective in your name recognition. I mean, I personally.
Dude, he is calling her out, bro. I mean, this is pretty wild to see him calling her out, effective in your name recognition. I mean, think about that, guys. Think about that. Think about her getting $220 million to do ads, and what she does is she uses them to get a national profile to try and like level up in her political career. And, her and her friends are all taking that money, profiting while some film student makes the shit, right? But he's kind of going after her. He's kind of calling the crackhead, right? I'm actually a little surprised.
To me, it puts the president in a terribly awkward spot. And I'm not saying you're not telling the truth. It's just hard for me to believe, knowing the president, as I do, that you said, Mr. President, here's some ads I've cut and I'm going to spend $220 million running them, that he would have agreed to that. I don't think Russ Vogt at OMB would have agreed to that. It's something we have to defend. I'm on the Appropriations Committee. My research shows that you did not bid them out, that you pick, in fact, one of the people you picked, the strategy group, Safe America Media was a company formed 11 days before you picked them, and that the strategy group got most of the money, and the head of that is married to your former spokesperson.
Oh my God, dude. So one of the companies was the company that, you know, got incorporated right away. That wasn't even a company, but the other one was run by the spouse of her former spokesperson. Like, Jesus, right? Oh yeah. No, that I just put it together. He's talking about Tricia McLaughlin's husband. I thought he was talking about somebody from South Dakota, but that is the Tricia McLaughlin's husband. She was in the ads. Yes, truth crushed earth shall rise again. No lie can last forever. All this will come to light. They are screwed when they leave. Let's go, Booge. Yes, she was in the ads. She got to be a little bit of a movie star. So there he was referring to Tricia McLaughlin's husband. Fucking crazy. So nutty.
Look, we all have friends who are qualified. I'm not quibbling with that. I'm just, it troubles me. A fifth to a quarter of $1 billion of taxpayer money.
Dude, again, that's a lot of money for ads. Okay, stop stupidity. Let's go. That is like the craziest amount of money for, you know, for just some low grade ads.
We're scratching for every penny and we're fighting over rescission packages. I just can't agree with Madam Secretary. Are you still running those ads?
No, Senator, I did not have anything to do with picking those contractors. I know politicals at the Department of Homeland Security did.
I understand. Are you
Career
still running
officials
those
followed
ads?
the competitive bid process for
Are you
that.
still running
Everything
those
was,
ads?
I think the ads are due to end here in March, I think within a week
So
or two.
they
I'm
are
not sure of the
still running?
update. The one that is running is focusing on angel families. Have you seen that? It is the one.
Dude, let's go. Sam, snow puppies fade into the distance. Let's go and stop the stupidity. Let's go. So let's find the ad real quick, the Angel Families ad. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what they're getting for their money. Okay. I'm curious if we can see the ad, right? Dude, stop stupidity. Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, we have, it looks like we have 10 minutes. 10 minutes, guys. 10 minutes. We're going to pause after this. See if we can, I'd see what the ad looks like, right? I mean, she's been doing commercials her whole career, right? She probably wanted to be an actress, failed actress, turned Republican. Yeah, if you find a link to the actual ad, I would love to see it. Let's ask the AI and see if they can find it. Here it is. You ready? All right, here we go. It's a big ad. I'm not going to watch it all, but we'll watch a little bit. Dude.
We knew that President Trump was the only way that we had to get to a place of sanity, common sense, and safe America.
I thank President Trump and Secretary Noem for dedicating.
Dude, that's the woman from the RNC. Remember this woman, Ann Fundner? I don't know if you remember this, but like, why? Look at what they're doing, guys. This is so crazy. This woman spoke at the Republican National Convention about her son who tragically died of fentanyl. But this woman is like a Republican operative who would go to all of their conventions. She was like a MAGA hangers-on person that went to all their things. And meanwhile, her son had a drug issue and they put him in a military school and eventually he died of a drug overdose. But now they're featuring her, a MAGA operative, in this Angel Families ad, okay, because her son died of drugs, but like attributing it to they don't know where the fentanyl came from. You know what I mean? I mean, the kid had a rough life. He had no parents around. Like, she was off, like, wearing short skirts at Republican events and being like a groupie. Dude, terrible mother, okay? I looked into this. I made a video about this after the RNC. She's a total fake. But guys, I'm not going to watch this, but look at this ad, guys. Look at this shit, okay? This is like no money, okay? This fucking ad was made for literally, I could hire a crew to make this ad for like $500. They had one location in front of a curtain with, you know, a backlight, and it's not even well lit. I mean, the lighting is fucking pretty, like, not even schmancy, but it is like a shitty, they didn't even color correct it, okay? They did not even color correct this. It is literally talking heads in one location in front of a curtain with a 2-light setup, okay? And then the rest is still photos and some motion graphics that are very cheesily done. These are not even, like, these are stock motion graphics in the editing program with like the lower thirds that bounce out and shit. This isn't even custom work, okay? Why are they all yellow? They're all yellow because they didn't do an effective white balancing of the camera and they didn't color correct this thing. That's why they're all yellow, okay? Because somebody like doesn't know how to operate the color temperature feature on their camera equipment, bro. Dude, look at this though. This shit is like, and a bunch of still photos, guys. They literally spent, right? They spent like $500 making this, hiring a film student. They bought some stock music, and then they're probably, you know, they probably billed like $50 million. Oh my God. That is crazy. Like, again, like I said, with 220 million, okay, with 220 million, you could make a viable superhero film, right? KD Mullen says, my 17-year-old son's school had a bomb threat today in Ohio. They had to evacuate and weren't allowed to come back. It was so scary, but all is well. I love your channel. Thank you, KD. Oh my God, I'm glad you're okay. And like, give some big warm hugs to your son. That is crazy. Like, I'm sorry that they have to go through that fucking bomb threat. Jesus. Like, what is this world coming through? What is this world coming to? Right? So this video, oh my God, guys. That is brutal.
That's talking about this is our why. This is why we work every day.
Okay.
Is for the Angel
I've gotta
families
move
and their
on.
victims. That
Yeah, dude, I'm sorry. But guys, just so you know, I have a short form TV show that is on Amazon Prime. Okay. And I've made some pretty decent theatrical movies and or television stuff. And like that Angel Families thing was a piece of shit. Okay. Dude, that was a piece of shit. That was like not even low budget. That was like a no budget production done by people who don't, like, if you can't color correct an interview to make their skin tone look like they're not jaundiced, like, you have no business standing behind a camera. Dude, Ella, let's go. All right, we got 4 minutes, guys. We're halfway there. All right, 4 minutes. Let's dial this in. All right, we're going into carnival barker mode. Hey, yo, 4 minutes. 15 and 4, 15 and 4. Do I hear 15 and 4? We're going to secure the dance party. Learn how to color correct, you dumb son of a bitches. Jesus. Stop the stupidity. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Oh. Yeah, hey there, hi there, ho there. Kristi Noem. Dude, she spends more on her OnlyFans photos than she did on that commercial, bro. Let's go. Even without your cool movie credentials, anyone can see that is a student work. Yeah, a student of something else. Dude, that was some camera work done by a student of engineering. Right? Hey, let's go blunt front. All right, guys, 3 minutes. 13 and 3. Ayo, 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 ayo. Wilfred, let's go. Let's go, Wilfred. Thank you. And then there were 12. 12 and 3, dude. 11 and 3. Boosh, let's go. Coming through, baby. We're coming through. Right? Holy shnikes. Dude, it's nuts, boss. It is nuts. Dude, oh my God, here they come, dude. Wilfred coming in hot. Let's go, Wilfred. Stop stupidity. Let's go, big man. Let's go, dude. Suki, dance, dance, dance. We will be dance, dance, dancing. Let's go. Dude, Laura, appreciate you, Laura. Let's go. Take a compliment. I will take a compliment. Dude, did somebody give me a compliment? I'll take it. What's the compliment? Oh, shit, wrong button. Dude, Ella. Let's go. I love compliments. Give them out like candy. Dude, stop stupidity. Let's go, dude. Boosh. Let's go, baby. Coming in hot. Dude, Engrain, we get this. We do. We do get this, guys. Here it is. 3 and 2. Now we're way ahead. Dude, let's go. Take a compliment. Let's go. Again? Dude, I love it. Stop stupidity. Let's go. You just keep saying that to me? I love it. All right. I'll take it. Dude, give me more. I'm adorable. All right. I like it. I can do it. Dude, Wilfred, let's go. There it is. Pine box. Pine box. Dude, let's go, Ella. And just like that, the dance party has been secured. Dude, the bouge. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Or sir, or madam, or something in between. Right? Thank you. They complimented my filmmaking skills. Oh, let's go. Yeah, no, nice. Dude, wait, was your comment the one about how anybody could see the student even without my amazing filmmaking skills? Was that the one? I'll take it. Dude, I'm pretty good at like making filmic things. Dude, 𝗙𝗧𝗏𝗏, let's go. I'm pretty good at that stuff. Dude, Laura, let's go. Thank you. Dude, the dance party is happening. When my clean and sober date, is that what you're asking about? My clean and sober date is 6/6/07. Okay, it was June 6th of 2007. All right, and so we're coming up on 19 years. Right, next year will be the big 20. Let's go 6/6/07. And although I did it in 2000 as well. Okay, I first got sober in 2000 until 2005. All right, so I went from 2000 to 2005, but I like didn't go to AA or anything. I just sort of became a workaholic, touring the country alone, you know, and sort of having a lot of sex and drinking a lot of Red Bulls and smoking a ton of cigarettes and being a workaholic until my son was born. And then I had a freak out, right? The pressure of like, you know, having to step up. And then I like relapse again. And then in 2007, I got sober and I did the AA route, which was much better. Like it being sober without like doing step work or fixing that sort of, you know, the why is like really crazy. And for me, no, I know nothing. No drugs or alcohol of any kind. And then I gave up cigarette smoking to a couple years later, right? I quit smoking cigarettes in 2010, 3 years later. And then I gave up caffeine too for 8 years when my son was sort of at his height of energy, because I noticed that I got moody. And when I gave up caffeine, I was able to like be around my toddler kid without finding his energy frustrating. Dude, yours is March 1st, 2008. Let's go. Dude, yeah, I saw Citizens was 2004. Somebody else, 2015. Dude, Blunt Front 2020. Let's go. Dude, that shit is huge, man. Good shit, dude. Good shit. You know what's so funny, though, guys, is when I quit again, just minute sidebar here, when I quit on 6/6/07, I didn't go to AA again for like a month. I quit and I was going to do it on my own again. And then, 4th of July, I went to my first meeting that summer. And I was in a relationship with another woman who was getting sober. I've done that twice now, guys, where I've been in a relationship and I have gotten sober, which then helped the woman I was in a relationship with get sober. And then we would break up. But like both of those women are still sober. So like I've also been able to help be a little bit of a catalyst for other people getting sober as well, and them helping me stay sober and me being sort of returning the favor with being a catalyst. So I've done that twice where I've gotten into relationships with somebody where we were both partiers and we both got out of there sober. Isn't that wild? It's pretty wild, man. It's good shit, dude. NA has better stories. See, I went to some NA, but the NA people were a little like hardcore for me. I found the NA people, I mean, they have the stories, but they're just so like, I don't know. They're a little, you're NA, nice. Dude, for whatever reason, NA just intimidated me a little bit. So what I did was I went to AA and then I would go to men's meetings. Okay, that was my sobriety. Because when I went to mixed meetings, I was always a lover of, flingy relationships, right? I've always had a lot of, short-term, mutually satisfying flings type thing. And so what I found is when I went to meetings with women in the meeting, I would be performative sometimes, I think. You know what I'm saying? I would be performative and I felt like other people were performative, like people were trying to look good. And so I went to men's meetings and that way there was none of that. It was, and it was also, I always, socialized more and easier with women. So I would go to the men's meetings and sort of force me to like deal with my issues of like relating to men and there's a different kind of honesty when you go to same sex, I think. But yeah, no, it's cool. But I mean, everybody's got to find their thing, right? I know a ton of people who you do the mixed meetings and they're more comfortable there. And I think you just got to find what works for you, creeping up on 7 years, let's go. But yeah, I like the men's group. And I also went to a men's group that was like mostly older guys too. Like dudes that had been sober like 30, 40 years, right? And that was, that's where I found my like vibes, was because I figure the guys that were 40 years sober, they know what they're doing. So I went and hung out with those guys and let their fatherly wisdom sort of like sink into me, right? And it worked. It worked. Here we are, right? Everybody's got to find their thing. Somebody asked me about the NA thing. So the NA, there's, NA is it's just a different vibe. I mean, all the meetings are different, but when you go to NA, a lot of people in NA are people who got off heroin and like, I don't know how they did it. Cause like, dude, the people that escape heroin are like, to me, they're true heroes because that shit is gnarly. But there is like I didn't relate to a lot of the NA experience because I was a cocaine person and it's just a different vibe. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And NA is the addiction, but it's like, the NA meetings I went to were a lot of people that had gotten off heroin and they're like strong, powerful people. But for whatever reason, because I didn't go down that route, because I was a cocaine and a drinker and a sexer, I didn't really relate to a lot of their experiences. I found, and in fact, I think the other thing is because I had a number of friends die from that drug, I think I found it a little triggering to be in the room with those guys that had gotten over it. Because I lost a lot of friends to heroin. And I dabbled in it, but even the dabbling, like when I dabbled in it, I could tell the people that I had to hang out with in order to dabble with it looked like they weren't ever really coming back. And so I got spooked by it. So I just went to AA, and I found AA to be like a lot like more, I don't know, I was more comfortable there, right? And again, you just got to find your culture, you know, because whatever works. Now, that being said, if I really needed a meeting and there was an NA meeting and that was the only thing there, I went, okay? I didn't like avoid it. It just didn't feel like home to me, right? And you gotta, when you go, you gotta find the place that feels like home wherever it is. But I did, though. I went to some NA meetings. I went to AA. I went to some Al-Anon meetings. I went to Codependence Anonymous, CODA meetings. I did some essay, the Sex Addicts Anonymous meetings, the SAA or whatever it's called, right? Dude, that sounded bad when I said that. I have not done any essay. You're right. I mean, the meetings, I did go to some of those. And that was really interesting too, because sometimes I went to those meetings and I would just explore and to find the right vibe. You know what I'm saying? To see what the vibes were. And the, you know, and I think the ones that I connected with the most were like the codependence ones, like Al-Anon or CODA, and then the AA, right? I know that did sound a little bad. That sounded bad, but no. It was the sex addicts meetings. And those were pretty interesting too, but also I didn't really relate to those as well. You know what I'm saying? And how do you not get tempted? People be triggered to hook up. I mean, it's a danger. And believe me, it fucking happens, you know, like people hooking up. But I explored it all. I mean, guys, at the end of the day, I'm an explorer. So I like to see it all. I do. I like to see it all. But I think in the end, you just find what works for you and then you go with it. You know what I'm saying? You got to find what works for you, right? There's no one path. But yeah, I have not been to my men's group in a while, and I'm going to be checking in now because I haven't really gone since the pandemic, and then I did some virtual meetings during the pandemic, but I am going to, like, every 5 or 10 years, I usually run through the steps again just to sort of rehash and like take another inventory. And so I'm probably going to go in again in the next year or two and find a new sponsor and just go through that process, like the decade process, right? And, I will go check in. I saw a post on Facebook about one of the group members that like just died recently. So I'm probably going to go in and check in on those guys and see how they're doing. Because that's the other thing. A lot of those old guys are now starting to die, but it's valuable, man. I'm going to go on the record and say this, that I think 12 steps, even like, I think they're super valuable because guys, you ready for this? If you look at it, if you look at capitalism is addiction, guys. It is. Capitalism is addiction. It is like you got to increase the profits. Every time there must be an increase. You cannot go down. Increase. Anything that generates profits, whether good or bad for the world or society, you have to you're going to get in there. If it generates, and then they try to get you addicted with addictive algorithms, addictive like casino, slot machine noises. They get you addicted with MSG or with chemicals, sugar, corn syrup that keeps you eating the food. Everything about it is addiction, like capitalism. Like we should all be doing 12 steps, dude. It's crazy. It's like, it is so and that's why they don't want to switch off capitalism. It's not because capitalism is better. Obviously, dude, there's people sleeping in tents while there's other people being trillionaires. Obviously, capitalism is failing. There's wars and famine and abuse and sexual abuse and homelessness and just trauma everywhere because capitalism is a failure. But all of the other systems don't feed the addiction. And you know, in particular, guys, what's crazy is everybody's got some type of addiction and or codependence, and you lean one way or the other. And I mean, if you look at it in our society in particular, the like workaholism is an addiction that we excuse, okay? Men and women who work themselves to death, right? Workaholism is crazy, or getting addicted to the gym. I mean, there are just so many things that we think are like okay, but they're not. Like, I had a workaholic dad, and he was, you know, emotionally estranged, and he had temper issues, and he was just a fucking disaster. He was, you know what I'm saying? Drop it. I'll drop it, baby. I call it. I got this, dude. I know addiction, right? New technologies have created new addictions. I mean, they're looking for, by the way, though, while we're talking addiction, let me just tell you, I have been playing Fortnite every Saturday afternoon on my Twitch channel over on, you know, Acting Like Tommy Twitch channel. I've gone back to that because, you know, it is kind of like doing some blow. So every Saturday afternoon, I do go get my gaming addiction on for a couple hours, just one day a week. Dude, I was so addicted to that game. Oh my God, bro, I got so addicted to that game. I got lucky and a pandemic hit and I started streaming and I turned that addiction into some serious profits and I got us out of debt and shit. And so now we have no debt and our house is paid off. So that was beneficial. But like, bro, I was addicted. Like, holy cow. I was playing that game like 15, 16 hours a day, dude. Dude, because it is like, if you drink some energy drinks and you play Fortnite, that is as close to doing cocaine as you can get, like, without cocaine. I'm telling you, as a former, like cocaine was my thing, bro. I lived on that shit, okay? And like Fortnite with some energy drinks and you get like your hand shaking after you get a win. It's just the way it bombards your senses. There is something about the way that game bombards you that is very cocaine-like. It is like the same high. It's like the same, it is the same fucking dopamine release. It's got this intensity that is like, and it comes in bursts too, but the way it releases dopamine is just the exact same. As soon as I played it, I was like, oh shit. I remember, like, I watched my kid playing it and I was intrigued because of the dancing, the characters dancing. And then he's like, Dad, you got to play this. And I started playing it and I was like, oh, dude, I like was instantly addicted. And I had been addicted at the time. I was already addicted to Star Wars Battlefront on the PS4. And that had like the nostalgia, but I used to play Star Wars Battlefront like 12 hours on a Saturday, and Jenny would be so mad at me. And then I got so addicted to Fortnite, like beyond addicted. The original one, the original Star Wars Battlefront on PS4. And then I got addicted to Fortnite, but then I turned it into some real dollars. So I made good on it, but dude, yeah. It's a good high. All right. You dude. Oh, let's go, baby. Yeah. That's not the original. No, but that's the original like PS4 one. Okay. It's not the original. They had the old ones on like computers and shit, or old, but the PS4 one was Star Wars Battlefront, right? That's when I came in, because I'm not a gamer, okay? I'm not. I never really, I mean, I played video games when I was a kid. I had an Atari 2600, and I had, I went to the arcades and shit, But when I was an adult, I never played video games, really, because I was making music. And in fact, there were several times in my music career where I fired band members because they spent too much time playing video games. In fact, when I was making Failure Looks So Good, one of the records down in the description down there, I fired that drummer, like the original drummer. The guy you hear on the record is somebody I hired to play on the record, and I found a new drummer, but I fired the drummer because he played Call of Duty all the time. And he had some real timing issues. And I would like set up a metronome for him to practice. I'd go to his house and he's playing fucking Call of Duty. And I'm like, you motherfucker, like you should not be playing a fucking minute of Call of Duty until you fucking become a better drummer, dude. Right? It's like, bro, if you're going to sit here and play a goddamn video game instead of being a great drummer, like I'm out. Right? And that was my philosophy, was like, I was like music first and video games later. And then occasionally what we would do is me and a roommate would rent a Nintendo and some GoldenEye, okay? And I would binge out on GoldenEye for like 3 days, right? We would like party and we would, you know what I'm saying? We'd get some party favors and we'd get go to Blockbuster and rent a Nintendo and GoldenEye for like a week. And we would just sit in a room for a week and play GoldenEye. But I would do that like twice a year or some shit. But mostly I stayed away from them because they chewed up too much time, right? You know what I'm saying? Dude, let's go, Shakes. We love it, dude. At the Triple Rock. No way, dude. I played the Triple Rock, boss. I played the Triple Rock twice in 2004 and like, I think 2004, 2005, right? I had good shows, dude. I used to go to Bob's Java Hut. At the time, Bob's Java Hut on like Hennepin or Lindale or whatever, wherever it is, it's in that neighborhood, not too far from downtown. But they left their wireless internet on all night, okay? So like after the show, I would go park outside Bob's Java Hut and do my like booking and return emails using their internet. Then I would grab a little sleep and then I would go get a coffee in the morning because I always had a short drive because I would play in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. There was a place there called the House of Rock that was like one of my main venues that packed out and I made a ton of money. So I would always have a really short drive from Minneapolis. I'd play Triple Rock and then I would go to Eau Claire, which is totally short. It's like, like 2 hours or something. So yeah, Bob's Java Hut. They had good coffee, dude. Played Central Indiana. I played Indianapolis, Emerson Theater on every tour. And then there were a couple times I played down in Evansville, Indiana, which was like weird. That town was like really depressed. Like it looked like the downtown looked like they were filming zombie movies and shit. Midwest Energy. Dude, I was born in Wisconsin. I grew up a little bit in Watertown and Elkhorn, Wisconsin. So I'm a Midwesterner at heart. And then I fled for the big city of LA. And then I fled the big city of LA for the tiny fucking city of Portland. Which Portland, I mean, some people think it's a big city, but it's pretty fucking small, dude. Do I play darts? Not really. I mean, I have, but not like it was never, I didn't, if I was at an Irish pub that had darts, I would play, but I didn't like seek it out. But yeah. All right. As a little sidebar, darts are fun. I was a pool player, right? I liked the billiards, and I used to work at a bar where a bunch of pool pros hung out at. So I would play those guys. Like while I was bartending, I'd have the bar back work the bar, and I would go play. Go play with the pool pros. So I liked billiards. I liked playing. I liked playing billiards for money. Was a particular right, dude. When I worked at the bar, I got so good at pool, and then I would like tip out the bar back, and then I would play the bar back for money. And I would often like win all of the tips. So bad. But I mean, hey man, if people like to bet, dude, I did like to play pool for money. And one time though, a funny quick story is we went back to Wisconsin for Riverfest, okay? The town I was in, Watertown, has this big carnival every summer for Riverfest. And so I went out, right, because all the carnies show up when they have Riverfest. So when I was there, this was in my mid-20s, I would go out, like, actually, I guess it was late. Yeah, it's kind of late 20s. But I would go out and try to hustle up money from the carnies, okay? Because they like to gamble too. But dude, I got into it with a carny where it was some shithole bar in Watertown. There's like a corner bar in every corners. And I went in and I was playing pool with this guy and I was kicking the shit out of him. And then right when we got to the 8-ball, he's like, you know, we're playing Bank 8. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? We are not playing Bank 8. Like, nobody ever said Bank 8. You haven't been playing Bank 8. I've been watching you on this table all night. And like 20 fucking carnies came out of the woodwork. And I ended up fucking playing Bank 8 with this guy on the 8-ball. Then he fucking caught up. Because like bank shots, I'm not great at bank shots. And especially not on those shitty pool, like bar tables where the rails are all super squishy. And fucking that guy took my money, dude, because he had all his fucking friends there in the bar. But dude, that, like, I was not happy. Dude, he was like, his name was Frogman. He like talk like this, right? And they all have nicknames. He's like, I'm Frogman. Dude, that fucking guy, bro. Oh, dude. I mean, I wasn't going to get my ass kicked over like $50, but yeah, I like to play pool for money. I mean, I don't do it really anymore, but when I was a younger man, that was a pastime I like to enjoy. You know, I like to gamble, and you know, sometimes you hustle, right? You find a guy who's not very good, and then you play him and you be not very good. And right, Watertown's near Janesville, right? Yeah, that was in Watertown, but that's kind of near Janesville. But so a carny, they're the people that run the carnival rides at right. You have state and county fairs in the Midwest, and so there's big carnival rides with like the zipper and all these crazy rides. And the carnies are the people that live with the carnival, and they go from city to city to city. And they get all crystal methed out and they build those carnival rides and they work the carnival. And then at night they go into the little town and they get drunk and they fucking play pool and they hustle and they do all kinds of crazy shit. Yeah, they're kind of like the deadheads of the carnival that like work the carnival and then they travel around the country. And they're really interesting, but they can also be like a little dangerous too. You know, it's a mixed bag because a lot of them are like ex-cons and shit. But it's an interesting subculture that if you live in a small town that has a carnival, you see them. They run through and it's pretty wild, you know, because they run through and they have kids. So like when I was in junior high, you'd go out and like, you know, the state fair's around or whatever, the fair comes through. And they're, you know what I'm saying? There's like, their kids are there. So there's like carnival, like teenagers that fucking roll through. I mean, it's pretty interesting. Like it's an interesting thing that happens in the small towns that have carnivals or, you know, whatever, like music festivals and shit, right? It's pretty, you know, and it's wild because both towns I lived in had that. Like Elkhorn was a town of 3,000 people, but we hosted the Walworth County Fair on the fairgrounds right outside Elkhorn. So we had that crazy fair environment. And then the same thing in Watertown. Watertown had Riverfest. And it's just pretty neat. You know, you get the transient people that come through. And it's I don't know, it's interesting. I like that shit. Right? Dude, I like that shit very much. But that was, you know, that Watertown had Riverfest, and Riverfest was pretty crazy. All right. Let's go, dude. Dude, I don't know, man. I like those, you know, I've never lived in one of those transient sort of cultures, but I had a bunch of friends that were Deadheads, and I used to go to Dead shows too, and I didn't really love the Dead music, but I liked the culture, okay, of the people that like live in that sort of counterculture. And here in Oregon, they have this thing called the Oregon Country Fair, and Jenny and I have gone to that. She like worked one of them, and that was the same thing where it's like the fair is open to the people from like 10 to 5 p.m. And then the people who work the fair party from 5 p.m. to like 3 in the morning. And so it's actually about the nighttime parties where they have all these pianos and this psychedelic shit, and they have an all nude sauna. And like, so it's a fair for the general public, but the real fair is what happens at night. And it's like amazing. And it's the same people who work this country fair every fucking year. And there's music performing at night for the fair workers. It's really cool. I love that shit. I did play in lacrosse. I played at like a place called the Warehouse or something. I think it's called the Warehouse. It was like an all ages venue. It was pretty cool. But yeah, man, it's I like those. I like the countercultures, right? I do. I like the countercultures, whether it's hippies or carnival workers or, you know, Ren Fair is the same shit. Yeah, Ren Fair is like that too. Or Jenny, she was part of a traveling Shakespeare festival when she was an actor, and that's another one. I mean, I feel like there's a lot of theater kid versions of that too. If you're with like a traveling theater troupe, that is also another place where you find that. I just love the bonding of people that are living in this counterculture that's sort of outside normal culture, and they have different rules, right? If you've spent a lot of time around those cultures, even though I never became part of them, I liked their rule set, because a lot of their rule set with those sort of countercultures, they have different rules around sexuality and hanging out and commingling and sharing. I liked their rules. Their rule set was just a little more amenable to me. You know? They're a little more like, I don't know, they're a little more open and you know, free spirited about a lot of things that a society gets all stressed out about. And you know, I like that shit. I like that stuff. I like the free spirited nature. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a tight ass, right? Dude, let's go, baby. But yeah, you know, it can get a little hairy. But all right, good sidebar. Good sidebar. All right, we're gonna grab another couple Kristi Noem clips, and what are we gonna hit? Then we're gonna look at that Marine video, and then I'm gonna go make some videos. I'm not gonna stay too late tonight because I want to get ahead. I have a massage tomorrow, and like, but dude, the Ren Fair is I'm intrigued by. I wanna check out the Ren Fairs. All right, let's go. I haven't really done the Ren Fair stuff. I know a lot of people who are into that world, but I find that world intriguing. Oh, see, here's the guy. You ready? Look at this. This is the guy right here, 𝗙cie. Actually, I think I'm going to move right on to the military guy. Dude, the juggalos. So I've never done the juggalo. I haven't experienced that circuit either, but I think that would be intriguing too, dude. Because I've known some like juggalo women that were pretty wild, bro. It's just the juggalo dudes freak me out a little bit. But there are some pretty cool juggalo girls. Right? There are. I'm not gonna lie, dude. Okay? You know, and like, let's go. Did I hear in the beginning of I've heard some of the Kristi Noem Biden trafficking. I think we'll look at some more of that shit. If you guys want to put links in the Discord, I would like to see her accusations about Biden, and I'd also like to see her, the shit about her affair, okay? But let's talk about this guy, because this is the senator from Montana, 𝗙cie, who is, look at him, dude. He's like a fucking meathead, bro. You know what I'm saying? This guy. And I think these comments are really interesting because you see his aggressive, meatheady, assholey nature, okay? And we're going to juxtapose it with what happens with that Marine protester.
This is a necessary response. We did not start this war, but we are going to finish it. This is a necessary response. We did not start this war, but we are going to finish it.
Dude, what an asshole. But you did. You did start the war. I mean, Netanyahu did, you prick. But, like, give me a fucking break. Oh, we didn't start this war, but we're going to finish it. Oh, I'm a brute. I'm a shithead from Montana. Hi, what's your name? My name's Tim Shithead. Right? Tim Shitheady. Tim Shitheady. Dude, remember the fucking governor, dude? Right? Remember Greg Gianforte? Wasn't he the governor, Montana? He's the guy who, like, attacked that reporter and, like, body slammed the fucking reporter. Remember Gianforte? Like, I'm telling you, these dudes from Montana, they're fucking brain dead like cattle humpers, dude. All of these guys are like, they have like one communal brain cell they go and plug in, and then they go hump cattle and try to like beat people up, dude. They are so fucking, like, all of these guys are just touched in the dome, dude. They are all touched, bro. Dude, yeah, I know the poor cattle. Dude. All right, let's find this guy. Okay, let's find 𝗙cie. I have the clip here. Let me grab it. Now, guys, I'm telling you right now, trigger warning, I am going to pull the clip. I'm not watching the guy's arm get broken, okay? I watched it once. I heard the snap. I'm not going to relive that. I think that kind of traumatizing is unnecessary. You're welcome to watch that shit, but I'm not playing that here. I am just going to play up to that point because you get the gist of it. But we have a Marine that's protesting about, Israel's involvement in Israel, involvement in this war, and Israel being the reasoning behind us ending up in this war. Okay. Let me see here. It's on Raw's alerts. Okay, so here it is. Here we go. I want to stay with the 𝗙cie shitheady meathead clip. I want to keep that meathead clip fucking fresh. Dude, these guys, bro, so toxic. There he is. Fucking dumbass. All right. So here we go. And so it looks like former Marine Sergeant Brian McGinnis, okay, he went to a Senate Armed Services Subcommittee hearing, right, to voice his opposition to the Iran war and saying, hey, man, we don't want to get drawn in. Then the Capitol Police show up. And then, during the removal, it gets crazy. He wraps his arm around a door. And it says here, McGinnis claims his arm was broken. His arm was definitely fucking broken. Okay, let me just tell you, there is no question that homie's arm was broken. Again, I'm not going to play it, but when I watched it, I was like, oh yeah. It's just an angle thing, and they're pulling on him. You hear it, and it's pretty gnarly. But again, I'm going to opt out before we get there. But let's watch the clip, okay?
Israel is the reason for this war. America does not want to fight this war for Israel.
Let's go. Come on, let's go.
America does not want to send its sons and daughters to war for Israel. Your inability to name that shows your exemptness as leaders. Out. This is wrong. No. And nobody wants to fight for Israel. A reminder to all our Commandant, please stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. Out. No one.
All right, now here's where I'm pulling it. Okay, now here's 𝗙𝗍 who comes in and grabs him. Now, as you see right here, you can see the setup. Okay, these guys are like Keystone Cops. He wraps his arm around his door and grabs this. Now, the problem is none of these guys are paying attention to what they're doing, right? They're so caught up in the physicality of it, and they're not tough, okay? They're not. These cops are like, the Marines they're well-trained, okay? But you see the setup here of this door being propped up like this, and he's trying to leverage his hand, and they're all yanking him to get him out, and they're not paying attention to what's going on. So yes, his arm snaps, and you hear it and you see it. I'm not going to play it, but there's the setup. It has not happened yet, but they're all three mugging him, and he's got his arm wrapped around that door, okay? And you know, I mean, dude, he's protesting, okay? He's protesting. I believe, okay? I believe that there should be a way of like doing this without being overly physical, that they could wait for backup. This guy's just talking. We get some backup there. Maybe you surround him and start slowly inching him out. But the thing about this is they're trying to, you know, it's always about the strong arming and the forcing and the physicality. They're trying to like aggress and in, you know, I'm not going to show it, guys. Okay. He hasn't broken it yet. It's about to happen. I'm not going to show it. I don't feel like we need to watch that. It's pretty gnarly, but you know, I mean, you know, I think it's one of those things where if you give the person a couple minutes to say their piece and let them air their grievances and let them be heard and then, you know, shepherd them out, I think that, you know, there are ways to handle this that maybe you don't need to be wrestling like the Keystone Cops. But I thought it was pretty interesting. Hold on, let me get past it. I'm gonna move past it here. Okay. All right. There's another angle here where I want to show this, okay, where we have this is 𝗙𝗍 who comes in and it like backs out of this thing. All right. There's the senator from Montana who like gets involved in this thing, right? Like, I don't know why he's even getting involved. Okay. There's three guys on there and the senator gets involved and then he's like trying to grab his legs. And then eventually this guy's arm snaps and it's pretty brutal to watch. But again, this meathead, 𝗙𝗍, shitheady, he doesn't even need to be involved. Okay. And you know, I mean, dude, you know, like the way I look at this thing, guys, is this. You ready? And I don't want to be revolutionary here in saying this, but this guy, right? Look at this guy. This guy's a fucking Marine, bro. If this guy wants to stand in this hearing and take 2 minutes to like have a grievance and speak it, I feel like he's earned it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this guy has earned, like, you know, you know, like if I had been on that armed services hearing, I feel like I would have wanted to stand up and say, you know, Corporal or whatever, what's your name? Okay, all right, Corporal, here's the deal. You're an armed service member. I can see you're a Marine, like, and you've got a grievance. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes to air your grievance, and we're all gonna hear you, and we're gonna center you right now, and like I'm gonna give you that time, and then if I give you that 3 minutes, can we then have our meeting? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they could honor him with that, you know, of like giving, at least letting him voice his protest, you know. But look at these guys though. These two clowns, these two fucking Capitol Police, whatever, rent-a-cops. I mean, they're no match for this guy, dude. You know? And I mean, to be honest, guys, he's got a point, okay? We don't have a grievance with Iran. There was no active threat with Iran. I mean, sure. Did we have a grievance with Iran in 1979? Yeah, we did. And what did we do back then, guys? See, here's the deal. Trump started his little bullshit speech about why we bombed Iran, talking about the hostages in 1979, okay? But guys, I was there, okay? I remember that hostage crisis and the botched rescue operation, and then you found out later that Reagan was double dealing behind the scenes with the Iranians to cuck Jimmy Carter to win the presidency. And then you found out later that agents of Reagan were selling weapons to everybody. You had the Iran-Contra shit, and you find out that, like, dude, we were, like, double dealing. We were fucking conniving. Like, man, it wasn't even just about Iran back then. And that was after 20 fucking years of us meddling in their country and trying to depose their governments and install people because we were just trying to, like, have access to their oil. So, man, we were scum, okay, when it comes to this. And there was no imminent threat. And Benjamin Netanyahu has been saying, ooh, Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon in 2 weeks. He's been saying that since the 90s, dude. Netanyahu's been on like a 30, 40-year track of trying to bomb them. And like, so, dude, we shouldn't be doing this. We are literally doing this shit like, you know, it is WMDs all over again. Yes, the same song and dance. And guys, I'm going to show this again. I talked about this before, but let me just show this tweet because I feel like this tweet is relevant. But you ready? You ready for this, guys? I'm going to tell you a little story. I'm going to put the tweet on here because the tweet is a good background for this. But it's right here. Where is it? I'm going to tell you a little story with a tweet, okay? And it is... because I want to show you the reality of this, okay? Because I have a 20-year-old son, okay, who is about to be 21. He lives in New York City right now. He lives in Brooklyn, okay? And where is it? Oh, here it is. It's right here, okay? So the night this happened, my son came into chat while we were talking about it. Again, he's 20. He's going to be 21 in 2 months. Okay. And after the stream, I messaged him and we messaged back and forth. And basically he was like, Dad, what's going on? I literally just got out into the adult world and there's already a fucking war. Like, what the fuck, man? And what's crazy about this is you have Trump saying, oh, we had to do this, imminent threat, all this bullshit. This is going to be real peace. But you know what's funny, guys? August 1990, I was 20. I was 2 months from my 21st birthday. And guess what? There was a president who took us to war. Desert Storm in Iraq. Oh, we got to do this. We got to save Kuwait. We got to, we got to bring peace. Okay. And in between, There were 2 wars in Iraq with made up shit. Okay, at least the first one, liberating Kuwait, they had a story. The second one was just a lie. So 2 wars, decades of fucking, occupation in, Iraq, and then after 9/11 in fucking Afghanistan. And here we are, guys, 36 years later, right? I was 20, 2 months from my 21st birthday. Same story. My son is 20, 2 months away from his 21st birthday. But it's the same shit, guys. It's like it didn't bring peace when they told me that at age 20. And it didn't bring peace when they lied about it, fucking 15 years later. And it didn't bring peace after the occupation of fucking, after 9/11. I mean, the Taliban are still controlling Afghanistan, for the love of God, bro. It's all just bullshit. It's just oil and the Netanyahu's IDF Israeli imperialism and evangelical Christians hoping for the rapture. And it's the same song and dance, boss. Just bullshit. Like I said, there's not been an ounce of peace in that region, despite our wars or regime changes or occupations. It's been the same shit, okay? The oil companies are wealthy. Someone sends the bombers and missiles, and we don't have health care. We just have a massive amount of debt, okay? And this is going to be no different. Same shit, guys. But isn't that weird that when my son reaches out to me 2 months before his 21st birthday and is like, wow, Dad, I'm troubled that we're going to war in the Middle East, and they say it's going to bring peace. And I'm like, you know what, son? When I was 2 months from my 21st birthday, same thing happened. And guess what? I guess there's no peace because they're doing it again for you. There you go, guys. That's the story. This shit, this regime change, this, bombarding the leaders over oil or whatever to, satisfy the colonialist fantasy of fucking Benjamin Netanyahu and those other IDF dickheads. It's bullshit, dude. Shit don't work. It goes nowhere, and there is no peaceable outcome. There is no peaceful outcome from the fucking throes of like third-party violence. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there have been instances where, like there has been a violent rebellion from inside and they take their shit back and they might find peace, but not when a third party comes in and forces this shit and then meddles, right? And so when Vietnam happened, my dad was when did Vietnam start? My dad was in his 30s. Okay, my dad was born in 34. So my dad was like in his mid 30s when Vietnam started, right? But my dad was Korea. Okay, my dad was in the military and he was around during Korea, and Korea was in my dad's 20s. Okay, was Korea for him, and he was stationed in Germany. Like my family was all military. But let me tell you, so my dad had something in the 20s. Okay, right? But you ready for this? My dad had me when he was 35, and I had my son when I was 35. So 1952, there you go. My dad was, I guess, 18 when Korea started, right? Isn't that wild? Dude, it's just fucking bullshit. But my dad was already out of the military and had gone to prison and gotten out of prison by the time Vietnam started. But my dad he died this past year in 2025. Dude, he lived fucking, or like, yeah, my dad was in his 90s, bro, when he died. He was like 91, I think. Crazy, huh? 91, dude. Stubborn son of a bitch, dude. Dude, stubborn son of a bitch. My father was, dude. Jesus. I mean, I got a lot of good shit from him after I did enough therapy to get rid of all the bad and heal some of that generational trauma. But he like I did, and he was a dancer though too. I got my dance moves from my dad. And my dad was also a pretty good networker. I do, even though he stopped talking to me like many years ago, but I do have a picture of him that is like him with me as a baby that's out on the lawn of this farm in Wisconsin. And like my dad was like, I'm not going to lie, he was enamored by me because of like my intelligence and my strength. I had even more strength than him because I would like rebel against him in ways that weren't violent. And did I like my dad? It's complicated because I since I've done the healing work, I now appreciate a lot of things about him. But like when I was a kid, I did not like him much. I loved him and idolized him and desperately wanted his approval, which I was never going to get because he was so fucked up. And he was really wounded and damaged. And that really made him a terrible fucking father. But after like, you know, fucking my own life up as a result of that, and then eventually getting sober and doing a bunch of healing work and getting all the negative shit he tried to dump into me out of me, I have an appreciation for some of his good qualities, but he was not a good man. He was not. He was a very, very bad man and a very damaged. He hurt like a lot of fucking people. You know what I'm saying? But I remember that other shit about him, you know. But what I have done is I healed the damage. Okay, I broke a lot of the generational chains. Because, you know, our parents, they bring generational trauma that was dumped into them by their parents and their parents' parents. And like, guys, let me just say that I was the one strong enough to break a lot of those chains, okay? Because I did battle like after I got away from him. And I fucking healed a lot of that shit. I broke a lot of fucking chains and I raised my kid differently, okay? My kid... Like I am not going to walk away from my kid because I'm an unhealed, like weak weirdo that won't fucking go do some emotional fucking work, you know? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I kick some ass, right? I kick some ass. And you know, but he and I, though we did battle, right? And like it started when I was very young, okay? Like my sister Cindy would, every time we get together, she'll tell this story about me when I was a first grader where, and I don't remember this. I mean, I feel like I have vague memories of being at the table. But so what happened was my dad was an authoritarian and he ruled with violence. And there was a lot of, you know, door kicking and fists through the walls and mom slammed up against the fridge kind of type shit. And he had these stupid rules that were really arbitrary. And one of them was like about food. Like we weren't allowed to have our own relationship with food. My mom would cook a meal that my dad like commanded. And then we, the kids, were required to eat all of the food, even if we hated it. And I didn't like that rule. Right? Even as a kid, I felt like you should not be allowed to force me to eat shit that I don't like. It's my body. It's my taste buds. I'm allowed to eat food that I like. I don't have to fucking, right? You can't force me to eat this shit, right? And so, like, I guess when I was in first grade, one day during the summer, I had just had enough. And I was like, I'm not eating it. And my dad's like, you're fucking eating it. And I'm not eating it now because I was his kid. He was like slightly less violent with me. I had to do something really bad to get the violent abuse. I had a little more power, okay? I had a little more political power in the family because I was his kid. And so I was like, I'm not eating it. And then he was like, you're not leaving the fucking table until you eat that. And I'm like, fine, then I'm not leaving the table. And I sat at the table all day, all night, all the way till like everyone had gone to bed, like 3 a.m. or whatever. And my dad was like going to bed and I outlasted him and he was like, all right, go to bed. And I broke it. And at that point, like I won some power for us to opt out of eating things, right? Because he knew, like, I would have sat at that table, like, I would have fucking moved in, bro. You know what I'm saying? And like, so there were little things like that I did. I don't really remember that one. My sister Cindy tells that story, but there were other things I did where I did those types of battles where I used my political power that I had to sort of break down some of those senseless barriers. And then eventually what happened was, eventually there was the violence one, which after he and my mom broke up, there was an instance where I had come home and there was a fight that had escalated, and I pushed my father out onto the porch, and I told him he is not getting back in that house. And he got like right up in front of me, threatening me with all the physical violence. And I told him, I said, I am not fucking 10 years old anymore, and I am not afraid of you anymore. And if you want to try to get in there, like, be my fucking guest. But let me just tell you, you're not getting in that house. And if you want to make a move, make a fucking move or get the fuck off this porch, right? And he left, okay? But he was not. I was fully prepared to beat his ass if it came to that right then. And he backed down because he was really not strong. I mean, these guys that like threaten with violence and shit like that, they're not strong, guys. They're not, you know, and it's just, you know, they take advantage of you when you're a kid or when you're, you know, a woman that they've been abusing for years or whatever. They look for the weak links, you know, but that's where it ended, you know, and then we did sort of stay in touch for a while, but ultimately what really ended the relationship was eventually, you know, in my 40s or whatever, I started remembering some childhood sexual abuse that happened with a couple of half brothers of my mom's kids. And I went to therapy and I confronted them, the half brothers, and I told my parents about it. And my dad, who had a sketchy past himself with SA, he did not react well to being confronted about that. And in fact, even though one of those half brothers is in prison for sex-related crimes, he didn't believe me. And he accused me of like making it up and of being unsober and trying to ruin the family. And I was like, and then I called him out and I said, Dad, here's the problem. I think you're having trouble accepting this because you're a sexual abuser. And so you hearing that I got sexual abused is making you have to confront your own, the fact that you're a fucking sexual abuser and you never got help for that. And you should get some fucking therapy, dude. And he was like decided to never talk to me again after that. And he didn't, okay? He did not. And then I fired him too. That was another bone of contention, was at one point I called him up and I said, here's the deal, Dad. I've spent a lifetime like trying to get your approval and trying to win your approval, and you've always withheld it. You've always played these manipulative power games. But you know what, Dad? I'm firing you as my father. I want you to know that I'm no longer going to seek out your approval. I'm no longer going to chase you down. You are officially fired, and you've never really made much of an attempt to be in my life, so it's not like this getting fired is going to really affect you. But I'm firing you as my dad, and hereby serving you notice that like this manipulative game we played for fucking 35 years is done. And he didn't react well to that either. That was actually before the sexual abuse thing happened. So he had a few bones. Dude, oh, it was healing. It was really good. Like, I put up some barriers with this guy. And then eventually, after the sexual abuse thing, he stopped talking to me. And then he never talked to me again. And there were a couple times where I text messaged him and he never called me. And I wasn't going to go after him. I let him just have the distance. And then, you ready for this? So then I found out he was dead. And then I started this process of like working through, like trying to get in touch with a lawyer and figure out if he had anything that he had left behind. And then eventually it led me to his brother, who is also an abusive piece of shit. But I found out my dad was not dead after I thought he was dead. And so then I called him and he was like in hospice. He was hopped up on drugs. He had been dying of cancer for a while. He never reached out to me. And I did speak to him one last time while he was all fucked up. I could barely hear him. And I spoke to him one more time, and then he died sometime after that. But that was it. That was the last. I called his phone to see if anyone would answer, and he answered. He had been on hospice, and it was, you know, it was, you know, I mean, it was what it was, you know. Did I get into the will? I don't think there was a will. I just left it. I mean, as far as I knew, he had married a woman, and he had inherited some shit from her, but she had a son, and like my dad didn't have anything, and if he did, I let that woman's son have it. I just let it go. Like, if there was anything, I don't really want it. I don't really need it. I don't think there was anything. I mean, he had called me once and said he cashed out his retirement to build a kitchen in her house. And so I was like, all right, I don't think he had anything. He was a pretty low-wage worker his whole life. And anything that he inherited from his wife, I felt like should go to her son. So I just let that go, you know, because I don't know. I didn't feel the need, you know what I mean? I don't need it. And I didn't feel a connection to him. And her son, I think, took care of all that. And I was never around. But so the last conversation wasn't really, I mean, I told him what I had been doing. And I told him about like my experience of like getting famous playing Fortnite. And I told him that I had a house that was paid off and that I've actually done really well for myself, you know, and like, but I really couldn't understand him, you know. But it was weird though, because he was all drugged out. You know, he was in hospice. So I had trouble hearing him. I have no real idea what he said to me, but I basically told him, you know, I'm good, right? And like, you know, my son and I are good. And like, you know, that was it. I don't know. I think maybe, you know, I think maybe I sort of may have like rubbed my success in his face a little bit, unintentionally, really. But I couldn't really understand what he was saying. But I also didn't have to, because it just didn't matter to me. Like, I was sort of like sharing my life because of my own pride in it, but not because I needed his like approval. I don't think there was any approval to be had, you know. But I couldn't really understand what he was saying, most of it, because he was mumbling and he was pretty doped up. But I did, you know, I did tout some of my successes, because a lot of the time that I grew up, he used to call me like lazy, and that was his thing. And I'm not lazy, guys. Now, I don't like working menial jobs. I don't like working just for money, and I never have. I've always designed my life around working the minimum number of hours for other people. And instead, I've worked on creative passions as a director or an actor or a musician, or now a content creator. So I am not lazy though. Okay. And in fact, I work for like a higher purpose than money. And I don't really, you know, when I have money, I mostly just give it to other people. Like right now, you know, I have a little bit of money, but I'm like, you know, supporting my kid in New York. And so he's looking for a job, and I'm like, but I'm helping him out. So his life is like pretty easy while he's doing that. Or like with Jenny, I'm like, you know, if you want to quit working and you want to just explore whatever, I don't really use money. You know, I'm not really a money guy. I just sort of like, you know, I like to take my money and like help other people do shit, right? You know, I'm not like a money, I don't care much about money, you know? I don't. I'm not really a money guy, you know? So, but I, you know, he used to call me lazy, and I didn't like that, because I'm not lazy. I didn't work the way he worked. You know, he believed in working at jobs that paid him very little money, and he was always struggling. And he could never really provide for the family well, and he didn't go get more education. And, you know, and my mom sort of did the same thing. Like both of them didn't, like they always were stuck. And then they made bad decisions, like moving back and forth every fucking 6 months across country. So then we were in debt and like, you know what I mean? And like for me, I grew up like I'm gonna get skills that allow me to make money, and then I'm gonna get money when I need it, and then I'm gonna create shit. And like for me, I wasn't gonna go work some fucking, you know, like fucking menial job, right? And like in fact, right? Let me give you an example of like separation from my dad's philosophy, okay? And I'm going to end with this and I'm going to go make some videos. But so my dad's philosophy was like, you got to go get a job right away and you got to take whatever job you can get. And I was not like that. And in fact, I got fired from a bartending job. This was in like 2012. Okay. I'd been at this job for 9 years. I didn't like it. Eventually we had a work meeting and I told the owner off during the work meeting and then they fired me. And I was not sad because I didn't want that job, but it was the summer, okay, of 2012. My kid was in Pop Warner football. I was coaching his football. I mean, my rent was $900 a month, and I only had like $2,000 in the bank. But I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna look for a fucking job. I'm like, fuck this, right? I'm not even gonna look. I'm not gonna stress. I'm coaching your football. I'm going to spend the summer coaching football. I'm going to see maybe there's some film work I can do to make ends meet. I had wanted to be an actor at the time. I decided I'm going to throw myself into acting, okay? And I was like, I'm not going to look for a job. I am just going to fucking like wing it because I want to be an actor. Now I've got this free time. I'm going to spend the summer coaching you. My kid, I'm gonna just know it's gonna work out. And you know, my dad would have been livid. He would have berated me for such a decision. He would have been like, you are a loser, you're lazy, you're a bum. But you know what happened that summer, guys? I did book an acting job, okay? My first paid acting job. And at that audition, I met the woman that I am now living with, that I've been with for 13 years, it'll be in May. We own a house together. I met her that fucking summer. And then all summer, I fucking had this magical thing. I became an actor. I met the woman that several years later I would end up with, and we would now are still together. And, you know, 4 months later, I got a phone call and I got a bartending job at one of the premier music clubs in Portland. So the job literally came to me. Why? Because I followed like my heart and what I needed and fucking, you know what I'm saying? So like that is how it rolls when you like do your heart-centered thing, where instead of me going out and in a panic, taking some job I didn't like just because I got to do it, got to support my family, I trusted and just did my thing that I wanted to do. And it all worked out like wonderfully. And my dad could never understand that. Like he was a controlling, aggressive, abusive man that could just never understand that when you let go of the control and you actually put some heart-centered like intention into it, like shit just can work out, you know, like, and like, because I know I can make shit happen. And he didn't know. He was like scared and aggressive and mean, you know? You know what I mean? Let's go. Dude, video viewers are really missing out on the live streams. I know, man. It's pretty crazy because these are poignant stories. But, you know, I think we get here, guys, because of you guys, really. When I think about it, like we always get here because of you guys. That's why, like, you're the ingredient, right? I mean, I'm a catalyst for the storytelling and shit, but it's because of my interactions with you. And this is the same shit that used to happen when I was a bartender, right? Is I would be a bartender and I would go on these tangents, or as a songwriter, I would go into a relationship with a woman or a friend group or a work environment or on a stage. And it's the people I interact with that would create the songs. It's like, I'm just a conduit that when I plug into other human beings, like I get some of your energy and I give some of mine, and then we create this shit together, right? You know what I mean? But yeah, so my dad, in a nutshell, he was an abusive man, and he taught me how not to be a man. And I had a very love-hate relationship with him, but in the end, I separated from him with a healthy boundary, and then I let him separate by being a stubborn person. But I have no regrets, okay? You know what I mean? I didn't do the kumbaya, oh, I'm going to run and make it better with him, but I didn't want that. I healed my relationship with my father by being a father. That's the path I took, and I'm good with it. I have no regrets, but I do keep his picture there, because I think, I know he was really intimidated by me because I was able to interface with my strength in a way that he couldn't. As much of a violent, aggressive sort of bully he was, I'm way stronger than him, and he knew it, man. You know what I mean? He knew it. Oh, did he know it, dude? Dude, it's weird. It's weird when you find out that the authoritarian who's trying to take power over you was really intimidated by you the whole time, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's go. He estranged you to homelessness after you were fired from 14 jobs for PTSD-related problems and needed to apply for disability. Yikes. Yeah, dude, see, that's tough. Kudos to you, but that's not how it works today. I don't know what you're talking about, Scrimmers, when you say that's not how it works today, when you're whatever. I have no idea what you're talking about. What works. You're just gonna be argumentative again like you were yesterday, right? I presume. I don't care. No one fucking cares, boss. The point you're trying to make, nobody fucking cares, boss. Save it. Let's go. Dude, my kid is 20. I am well aware of what Gen Z is like because I have a 20-year-old Gen Z kid. So yeah, you don't get to pull the world is different now because I literally have a Gen Z kid, man. I've been educated by a Gen Z, very left-wing communist, adjacent kid. All right. So I do know what it is like now. Dude. Oh shit. Let's go. Dude, one generation does not dictate the future. Dude, every generation is different, man. You know what I mean? That's just it. We're always evolving. And I think every new generation actually is more skilled, right? Even with my kid, his exposure to social media and their advanced exposure and their, Discord, the fact that they're a little isolated, they certainly have different issues than I had, right? They're very different issues and the world is very different. But man, his mind and his ability to process 100 different streams of information at once is truly awe-inspiring. When I see these people saying, oh, the kids aren't learning reading, writing, and arithmetic, it's they don't need to, man. They're learning different shit, dude. We don't want to teach these kids the same schooling we got. It's going to be useless to them. It's they need advanced. That's just it. We keep trying to teach them we want schools to be they were in the 70s. And it's no, man. Dude, they're going to be fucking bored as shit. They're 100 times beyond that. Their brains need new fucking challenges. And that's part of the problem is we're not challenging these kids. We're trying to hold them to some bullshit educational system that worked in the fucking 60s, dude. It's funny how they think they know everything. Yeah, but guys, that's part of the process. That's how, right? If kids didn't believe they knew better than their parents, they would never leave the home. you know, but of course, as a kid, you become a teenager and then you believe, I know better than you, Dad. And then you go and you fucking go learn a bunch of hard lessons, but that's why you leave. You leave because you know better. It's like, fuck you, Dad. I know better than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm more like evolved than you. You don't know shit about life. And then they go do it. And then along the way, they actually learn, well, Dad, you weren't as dumb as I thought you were. And I'm smarter than you too, right? And in a way, though, they are. Like, in a way, like, sure, I have the life experience, but my kid is definitely smarter than me. He sees things better. He sees things clearer. He's definitely way better at, like, emotional connection. And he's way more evolved than me. But he doesn't have the life experience, you know? I mean, but he'll get it. He's going to get it. And I'm going to help him get it. You know, that's why helping him get to New York or like giving him some money so he can get, you know, I mean, he moved to the biggest fucking city in America when he's fucking 20, dude. Dude, when I was 20, I got accepted to UCLA and Berkeley at 18. I was afraid to leave home. Even though I had this abusive father, I was too scared to leave home. I didn't even go to Berkeley. I went to UCLA and commuted because I was afraid to leave home. And then I finally moved into a fraternity. But dude, my kid, fucking 20 years old, him and his girlfriend moved to fucking New York City and are just like, dude, that's crazy. I'm like, holy shit, that's brave. You know, I mean, if you're going to like moving to 20 to New York City when you're not like a rich person is insane. You know what I mean? That's crazy. I mean, most of the people that move to New York are from really wealthy families where they have a nice apartment and everything's paid for and they can go look for an internship or whatever. They're going to Columbia, you know? And I mean, but they're like fucking adventuring, which is like crazy, man, you know? And all I'm saying is you can't just get a phone call for a new job. Well, no, scrimmers, see, you can, but you got to understand the reason I got a phone call for a new job, like that was because of the way I had set up my life, because I was a bartender. And when you're a bartender and you're a good bartender, you meet other bartenders. And then everybody knows you're a bartender. So what happens when you have that particular skill, if you do the socializing work and you have a network of people, when a job opens up, they come find you. But you have to create that, okay? I didn't get a job as a bartender, that phone call, because of, you know, some random old timer circumstance. It was because, no, I was a fucking amazing bartender. And everybody in Portland knew it because I networked with other bartenders. And people knew about my skills. And then they fucking call and fucking, like in the gig economy, it does work like that. But you have to set that up, right? You have to set that up. You have to become a gig worker who networks with other fucking, you know, in your industry and shit, you know? And a lot of cities are like that, like Portland or even New York, even LA. If you're in an industry like the film production industry, or if you're in the service industry, is like being a waiter or bartender, or, I mean, there's a lot of industries where that works. Anything that's like a gig economy, if you're a contractor who does graphic design or any type shit like that, right? It's like if you are in the gig economy and you are a networker, those types of things happen. But that's a selling point for being a networker. And it's interesting, though, because, you know, my kid is sort of learning about that now because young people are growing up in sort of Discord world. But I really believe, guys, my thing is making human connections are how you advance, okay? I've gotten all of my shit by being a networker, as opposed to, I have gotten random jobs like going up and filling out the application and shit, but you only get those jobs if you look good on paper, okay? And you have the right type of experience. If you are trying to get a job as a waiter and you've never been a waiter, you're never going to get a job going in with an application. You have to go to restaurants and go speak to the manager and show up and introduce yourself and win them over in person and say, man, I've never been a waiter, but I've got a lot of great energy, man. If you hire me, I'll start as a busboy. I'll start as a fucking whatever. If you hire me, you take me on. Like, I'm a fucking bring some good shit to your business. And if you meet the right person, if you do that kind of networking, shit can happen. That's how I roll. And I'm sure maybe it's harder now in the world that maybe people are a little more online, but like, you know, I don't know. The last job I got which was during a streamer, I went back and, you know, I'd quit working in 2016, trying to make a film career. I started streaming in 2019 and we were really broke. I had to go get a part-time job for a while. And that's how I got the job in 2019 was I just went from door to door. I went to restaurants and I went in and spoke to the manager and I literally got hired on the spot at a breakfast restaurant, right? Because the owner liked my personality and I convinced them that if she hired me, I was going to fucking make that place better, right? Is the events industry like that too? Yeah, where they request you. But I think networking and meeting people, I still think it's the way to go. I still think it's important, right? He learned things from you, made it his own thing. This means you did an amazing job with your son. I mean, I'd like to think so. And right now, though, he's like learning it on his own. He's in New York City, right? It's a serious issue, loneliness and isolation. I know. Oh, I know they are, Anna. I know. And I've had many talks with him about that, which is why, you know, like why I'm helping provide support while he conquers that loneliness and isolation issue in that brand new big city. And you know, he's talked about maybe after New York wanting to move to LA and to try it again. But I think he'll figure it out. I know it is a problem though now because a lot of shit has moved online and people aren't growing up with those interpersonal sort of networking skills. You know what I'm saying? And I hear you, but it's hard to pay what rent is these days on a gig economy. Yeah, no, I get it. But Scrimmers, my kid has my help. So like I'm helping my kid have the same experience, right? I can only talk about my kid. I can't talk about what it's like for you or for other people, but I'm saying with my kid, I'm helping him. And so I am helping him have the same level of ease that I had. And you know, like I get that it's way different, but I am also helping him. So it is very much the same, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, but again though, guys, you ready? I would like to say this, okay? I would like to say that even though it was easier in my generation than it is now, it was harder in my generation than it was in my parents' generation, okay? Because my dad bought a fucking 3-bedroom split-level house for $15,000, okay? And by the time I was 18, you were not buying a house in California. California houses were like $500,000. So it was like harder for me than it was for my dad. And it's harder for my kid than it was for me. And it's going to be harder for my kid's kid than it was for him because capitalism is destructive, you know, but I don't think it's easy. And I'm helping my kid, you know, I'm helping him so he can, you know, like my thing with him, like the last time I talked was like, as long as you're playing guitar, because he plays guitar and I'm like, dude, as long as he's playing guitar every day while he like sorts it out and tries to find a job and shit, I don't mind helping him. You know, I don't mind helping him, but it's definitely harder. And he picked the most expensive city on the planet too, right? He picked a city too, like the big one. But like, I don't think it's easy though, guys. I don't think it's easy, but I do encourage him to go door to door. And that's how he got, like when he was here living in Portland, that's how he got his job, was going door to door. He got his first job, like talking to someone in a drive-through, right? He went and got a job like by going through the drive-through of a fast food place, and he ended up getting hired by saying, hey, I need a fucking job. Like, you should hire me. Right? But I know the loneliness thing is hard. And I encourage you guys, though, like, to don't, if you're Gen Z, and I know a lot of your shit is online and Indeed.com, and they tell you, you may go in and they tell you, like, send me something online. But I am telling you right now that meeting human beings and leaving a memorable impression on human beings and then asking them for help, and if they say no, you got to be okay. You can't get mad at them when they say no. But if you genuinely reach out to humans in a face-to-face thing, or even, you know, online, reaching out to them saying, hey, will you get in a Discord call with me? I would like to pick your brain. And they can say no, but reaching out to people and asking them to help you is very effective, guys. It is. It's like, if you reach out, they will reach back. But you have to learn that. And you know, I think, you know, Bryce is going to learn that on his own time, right? Won't they still pick you're not questioning me as a good father? I didn't think you were. I don't know what you were arguing about. I think you were hearing, like, me talk about something and thinking you were somehow internalizing that I was like, you know, like, oh, you were saying because I chose to not get a job, you can't do that anymore. But that's where you're wrong, though, because I still live that way, Scrimmers. I started this political channel by living on an American Express card. And I started my fucking, you know, my Fortnite channel. I was $200,000 in credit card debt when I started my Fortnite channel, and I lived on an American Express card for years and racking up even more debt. And then I fucking hit it big, you know, on Twitch, and I paid all that shit off. So you can do it. I mean, I'm a white guy that's 50 with a lot of life experience. So yeah, I can do it because I've been doing it for 40 years, right? And I get, for a young person, they can't just go out there and do it. But with my help, I think they can, right? I think you can set up the world to respond to you. You have to set it up that way, right? It's like, you know, but I've been doing it my whole life, so it's easy for me. But you know, I think my kid is going to find his own way of doing it. You know, he will. My kid is going to do a similar path, because he doesn't like working either. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't like working either, you know, but, you know, I do believe, though, that, like, you know, I believe that there's, you know, I'm going to end on this, and, you know, regardless of the money and all this shit. And I realize people have different economic advantages, and me being a white man, you know, an older white man, I have a lot of economic advantages as far as cards and shit. But I do want to say that what you believe is possible goes a long way in how much help you're going to get from the universe in getting it. Okay. And I'm not talking about, like, you know, telling other people I'm doing this or I'm going to make this happening. I'm talking about what you believe you are actually capable of, that it really starts there. Okay. That if you don't believe you can achieve something, you will definitely not achieve it. Okay. And if you believe you can achieve something, you won't necessarily achieve it. It's not a guarantee. Like, oh, if I believe it, I'm going to get it. No, there's a lot of failure. I've had a lot of fucking failure, guys. But I do know that things start with my belief, okay? That I believe it is possible. And then even though it might not look possible, and even though it might look impossible and so daunting, if you believe it is possible, you can find a way. But it does start with believing. And so what I want to encourage is I'm going to give Scrimmers and everybody, all the Gen Z people, I know that they're struggling with a lot of, like, you know, isolation, and the world is different, the social media world, and it's so expensive. And right now, it just feels like nothing is possible with the chaos and the polarization and the fact that you can't even afford an apartment. But I do encourage you to there's meditation. There is yoga. There's a lot of this shit that you can actually find for free, like yoga in the park. You can look into it, or there's certainly meditation is free, but there are things that you can do that can help your mind shut out the noise. Yoga and meditation in particular are both usually available free. Meditation is definitely available for free. But, or if you have codependence issues, you can go to Codependence Anonymous, right? If you have addiction issues, you can go to AA. Those are also free. But there are things we can do that can help center us, that can get us down into a relationship with our belief systems. Because you do have to figure out a way to believe things are possible and to believe things can get better. And then when you can get that belief channeling, okay, then you can start doing the work and seeing the success of the work, right? Yeah, more for this generation. Yeah, but for this generation, it's possible too. You just have, things are possible for this generation. Unfortunately, you guys you have a lot more noise to clear out of your head, and you have a lot more work. You have to work a lot harder and a lot of different challenges, but you also have a whole bunch of different opportunities. Even what I'm doing right now as a streamer in a house, it's because of this generation. This is available to people of this generation. It was not available to me. Dude, when I was 18, you weren't becoming a fucking streamer. I had to go work at the fucking Gap, bro. You know what I'm saying? And so there's a lot of other opportunities available. And again, though, privilege affects it. But it's still, you got to work on the belief. And that's one thing that I will say about this generation is you guys have to work on that belief shit, because it's even harder now. You have to work harder on the belief. You have to work harder on the believing it, because it's getting a lot harder to believe, but yeah, I don't care what you say, right? You can say whatever you want about this generation. I still live in a belief-centric world where I attack the world based on believing things are possible, always, and regardless of the information provided to me. And I provide that same type of unshakable belief in, believing in my son and believing that he's going to figure it out too, right? I don't know how. I don't know what he's going to do. He chose not to go to college, and so he's going to tough it out and figure it out like I did. But I know he'll figure it out. I know he will. I believe in him, and I'm going to help take care of him and try to make it as easy as I can for him while he figures that out. You know what I'm saying? But dude, but I will tell you this, guys. You ready? Let me just tell you, okay? Even if you're a younger generation, guys, it ain't ever gonna get easier, okay? We are in late stage capitalism. And from here on out, guys, it is only gonna get harder and harder and harder to make ends meet. So I suggest you fucking get busy on working on the belief, getting into that meditation and yoga shit that allows you to shut down some of that negative energy, because there's a lot of it out there, and you got to do that work. You got to be willing to work on your mindset, and you got to build community. You got to reach out to people more than ever, because community is that's the way you go. I mean, even with me, guys, even back then, okay, even back when I was a drug addict and going back when I fucking had no money and was just eking my way through LA, I got a lot of help. A lot of couches, a lot of meals cooked for me, a lot of people that took care of me. And there were some ground rules I had I never stole from them. I respected their property. I fucking, you know what I'm saying? There were like, I set up ground rules about not fucking over the people who helped me. And then when I had the resources, I helped other people. And I have always had like an energy that has like come back to sort of help me out. And I believe it starts with finding gratitude. Like it's real easy to feel like the world is stacked up against you, but you got to find a way to live in gratitude and to realize the things you do have to be thankful for. And then I find that like giving, even if you're just giving like your attention to people or whatever, or giving your experience to people, right? Giving's important, man. But yeah, dude, it is not getting easier. It's never going to get easier. On that note, though, I got to go. All right. I got to go work hard because I'm working my ass off even now. Right. It's even building this shit. It's not easy. All right. I wish it was, dude. It's just not. I'm working myself to the bone and probably for another couple years. But you know, I am glad though that like, I'm glad that I'm able to help make it a little bit easier for my kid, you know? But dude, he moved to New York City. I mean, I respect the ballsy nature of that move, right? Right? So my rent, you know, my rent was like $5.50, right? But I was also though, like we were making $5 an hour. Okay. And right. And so it's interesting that I was $5 an hour was like the wage and my rent was $500. And you know, my kid in New York City, I think their rent is $1,700 and the wages are like $17 an hour. So like the ratio is like not that much different. I mean, it is because everything else is more expensive, but it's not that much. But yeah, but minimum wage was $5 an hour, right? I had $500 a month rent, but I was making like $5.25 at the Gap, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, 1,700 is, yeah, no, it's pretty cheap. They're in Brooklyn though. They're in a, like, they have pretty cheap rent for New York. Yeah. They're like living large. They're not in Manhattan. They're in Brooklyn. Dude, MLV, let's go. But dude, your mixed race guy is trapped in a sea of red hats. Oh, Curtis, dude, that's tough, bro. Dude, $2.15 an hour. Yeah, the restaurant wages are terrible. But yeah, guys, I mean, here's the deal, though. You know, like it's one of those things where I'm not under the illusion that things are like not harder now than they were then. But like at the end of the day, guys, it doesn't fucking matter. Right? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't fucking matter if it's fair or if it's right or if it's like, does it suck? Is it fair? No. Is it shitty? Yes. But it's reality. And at the end of the day, you have to look at reality and you have to take it on, or you have to just sit there and let it fucking shit all over you. But you know what I mean? I mean, I'm one of those guys though, where I don't spend a lot of time dwelling on whether things are fair or how much it sucks that I have to like eat shit. You know what I'm saying? I really just am like, okay, how can I find the angle, right? Like what angle am I going to find to solve this predicament? And that's what you got to cultivate, and you got to learn that shit. It's different for all of us, you know? You know what I mean? I mean, I know like my son, he has the Gen Z struggles. And I know I have friends with other kids too that have the Gen Z struggles where they feel a lot of overwhelm, You know what I'm saying? They feel a lot of overwhelm because they got exposed to too much of the world too early, and they've had easy access to everything. So working a whole bunch to get some distant thing down the road is they've not cultivated that skill because they have their whole music library with them and their film library. They can get on the internet and have 1,000 different kinds of entertainment. So this idea of like, I'm going to do a whole bunch of shit and there's not going to be a benefit until 6 months from now is like, they haven't cultivated that, but they're going to figure new ways around. You know what I'm saying? They're like, he's going to develop his own work ethic that is going to fit the modern world. And it's going to probably be very different from mine. But my job is really more to provide him some financial support while he figures that out. And because I'll be honest, when you go out into the world at 18, 20, 21, you don't really know what you're fucking doing anyway. You know, like I sure as hell didn't. Like, you got to learn that shit. But I do know that, like, I live life my way. And you know, and my dad didn't understand that. And my son lives life his way. And I understand it a little better, right? I don't expect him to live, you know, under the same way that I did. Because I realize he's in a different world, right? You know, but... yeah. Brooklyn, 3,200, apartment with a roommate, back home and in school. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, see, they're living in Crown Heights. And so they're living in a neighborhood that's a little bit cheaper. And it's a little, you know, it's a little scruffy, but they're like rockers. So they like it. They like it. It's not like the super scruffy part, but they're, you know, they're doing good. They've had trouble finding a job, really. I mean, they've been there for like 4 months and he hasn't been able to find a job yet. You know what I mean? And like, but like also, you know, I mean, I'm able to help out. And he went there with a chunk of money that's almost gone, but you know, he had a chunk of money to go there. But I mean, if you're going to be 20 and sort of like unemployed and figuring it out, and playing fucking guitar all day and shit or whatever they're doing there, I think that's the time to do it, right? Right? You know what I mean? I mean, should he be working 50 hours a week at 20 years old? I don't think so. I think like, eventually he's going to find a job and, you know, but he is blessed. Though, I mean, he's got a little bit of privilege because I'm helping him out and enjoying doing it. But yeah, I think it sucks if you don't have anyone helping you, for sure. You know? But you know what my thing is, though, guys? You know what my thing is? Is like, my thing is just, I've always been one of those people that like, I am going to get that which I want, which is like, you know, I've always swung the opposite way where people tell me, dude, it's impossible. You just can't do it. That's completely unrealistic. And I'm like, watch me. Okay. Like I'm a sort of like, I'm going to get mine. I don't care how expensive it is. I don't care what the cost of living is. I don't care how impossible the fact that I didn't get a degree is. Like, I am going to fucking get my shit and I'm going to do it my way. And like, you're not going to stop me. That's kind of my mentality, right? And my son is different than that. He is a little not, he's not like that really. So, but, you know, everybody's got to find their own path, you know? Yeah, dude, no help does suck. It does, you know? And I wish the cost of living would go down, but I don't think it's going down, guys, right? That's why I really think, you know, if you're stuck in a job, really, you want to get in the service industry or you want to get into some type of content, like you need to figure, you know, you need to find, You don't want to really have office jobs anymore, guys. Those are fucking dinosaurs, bro. That like I think cash money jobs, service jobs where they're recession proof and they're social. You just got to make sure you don't get into the drink. Tell my son to learn to trade. Yeah, no, I mean he's gonna he's gonna figure it out. I let him figure it out. He wants to figure it out. He's very headstrong, right? All right, you ready? It's dance time, baby. Let's get it. Tax churches, let's go. Let's go. Oh, shit. Dude. But I started this channel, though, with $21,000 from my mom passed away, and she sold her house. They sold her house, and there were 7 of us kids. We each got $21,000. And so I had $21,000 in American Express card and no income for 2 years. And that's how I started this channel. Right? 21 grand, an American Express card, and 0 income, right? And I will be out of debt next month, right? Which is crazy. I started the fucking, I got the YouTube on, it was a different name, but it was September of 2022. And then I started making videos in 2023, and then I quit, went back to Fortnite. And then I started making videos in the summer of 2023, and then I quit and went back to Fortnite. And then I started doing politics part-time and playing Fortnite one night a week just so I, was making a little bit of money. I was making like $300 a month. And then eventually I started making videos full-time during the election year because I realized, fuck, bro, I got to do it now. There's an election. I did all of 2023 sort of meandering, and I couldn't really get it off the ground. I didn't have the confidence, and I was struggling, dude. I was going into debt. But then 2024 hit, and I was like, dude, it's an election. Like, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. So I just started making videos every day, and here we are, right? You teach people how to get out of debt. So I've said this, guys. The only way out of debt is increase your income. This is why the government, when they're like, oh, cut spending, you cannot cut spending and get out of debt. You need to increase income, period. Okay? You may need to cut spending too, but I have always gotten out of debt. I have never cut spending, and I've gotten out of debt twice now, and I did it by drastically increasing income. Okay? I don't believe in cutting spending. That's why I use credit cards. Because for me, I have to have a fucking state of emotional well-being, which involves not stressing about money. So I use debt. But I also, though, I got into trouble as a young man doing that. So don't live like me. This is what a guy who is like 50 years of like hustling and gig working. And I have so many skills that I can make money as an editor, sound designer, camera person, you know what I mean? Like, I have so many skills that, like, I've never had trouble making money. I can, make it from many different sources, but you can't do that when you're 18. When you're 18, it's a very different ball game. Like, you have to figure out you have to find your hustle, live beneath your means. Yeah, no, I know. It's good to live beneath your means. Okay. It's good to live beneath your means. I'm horrible with money though, guys. I'm terrible with money. I'm so bad with it. Dude, I just fucking... Yeah, but so sinful. I do want to say something there when you say, unless you're 18 and a chick, OF. But that's not true, sinful. Because OF is just like Twitch streaming or just like being a YouTuber. Okay? A million girls do OF and 1% of them are really successful. It is like doing OF as an 18-year-old girl or whatever. That's not a free ticket to success. I know guys act like, oh, some girl, you just do an OF and you're all rich. But no, dude, most of the OF girls never make any money. Okay? It is like the same shit. Everything that you do is like 1 in a million. So you just got to do a bunch of shit and figure out. And it's all a grind. But dude, becoming an OF star is as difficult as becoming a gaming Twitch streaming star, which is as difficult as becoming like a top stockbroker or getting becoming a partner at a good law firm. Like you gotta like grind it but first you gotta believe. First you gotta just know that it's available to you. And I think it starts there. Okay? It starts with the no, right? That's what I really think is the first part of the hustle, is finding out, how do I become a person that believes I can accomplish it, right? How do I get that, like, just belief where you just know that you're going to fucking get it, All right, but here we go, right? So it starts there. That's not the guarantee. The belief doesn't give it to you, but it's where it starts. You just got to believe it's available to you. Check. You ready? Right now, I believe we're going to be dancing. There it is. There it is. craziest dancing ever, but that was all right. Woo. Let's go. Big up. Me escape the truth. If you need me, well, I need me too. Yo, guitar solo. Let's go. Dude, thank you guys. It's hard. Finding faith it's fucking hard, man. You know what I mean? In my denial, blinded by the stars in my eyes. It's true, I've been dreaming of you. And nothing I take can help me escape the truth. The way I behave always gets in the way. Nothing I take my reputation away. If you need me, well, I need me too. Oh! Going to Vegas? Sounds awesome. I'll be going to Vegas. Right now, I'm gonna go to work. I love you guys. Good night. I'll see you tomorrow.
Anything like I need you, it's over.